You made a way when there is no way. I'm redeemed, this is my story. I just want to see you. I just want to see you. Oh, I confess on the cool. See you the way. I just want to see you. Oh, I can't just want to see you the way. That's what I'm telling you. When I see God's doing in my life, I have no option but to praise His name. My Lord, I will follow you till the end. Ooh, I'm lost without you. My journey, I get up on a model. And my Lord, that's how I live on this one. But I'm also new, I'm almost as new. What a color, was the other way. I just want to see you there. I just want to see you there. Oh, I'm confused on the cool. See you there. I just want to see you there. Well, I can't know you just want to see you there. That's what I'm telling you. What I'm well. She put you on your see you there. I just want to see you there. What can't tell you what you're talking about? If I told you, you would never believe it. Was outside in the process. Oh yeah, I am alive today. It is not by my own power. It is by the grace of God. I'm gonna see your tower. That's what I know. What is going on? You saw my tower. I just want to see you there. I just want to see you there. Oh, I'm confused on the cool. See you there. I just want to see you there. Well, I can't know you so well. See you there. That's what I'm telling you. What I'm well. She put you on your see you there. I just want to see you there.
Test the mic. Good evening, folks. Welcome to my phone and so here this evening. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Welcome to the show. Just hit the share button for us, and very shortly we're going to get the program going. We're going to do it in a different faction here this evening. Welcome to the show. I'm going to be having a very special one here this evening. I have no idea as to how this program is going to go at the end, but I'm a Francis and sort of the Liberia Public Radio. The group ladies calling themselves SIS, please. They're going to be joining me here very shortly. Welcome to the show. All right, let me start this music. We say good evening. Welcome. I'm Afonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for being here. This event is going to be done in a different context. And trust me, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the regular editions with the panelists going to be here. But this event, we're going to, let's change course. Let's change the narrative. Let's change the conversation. I'm going to be hosting two beautiful ladies. As a matter of fact, they are my nieces. I made that proclamation the other day, and let me just point that out. One is standing by, and very shortly we're going to be bring them in Satta and Jaratte. I have no idea how this thing going to end tonight, but trust me, you're going to get the best of them. And as usual, let's get our sisters, our nieces, our brothers, regardless of where they were born. Let's get them involved into our community. I am Afonso Zienso. Welcome to the show. This is the Liberia Public Radio. Okay, good evening, good evening. Welcome. Time check in the East Coast here is 7:02 Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to this editions of LPR-TV Live with the panelists. But the panelists will be coming on at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's change the conversation. Let's change the narrative. I told you the last time that we should have had this program last week. I don't know whether it was something to or whoever. For some reason, Facebook decided to act up, but it's better late than never. Let me bring in my guests. One is here, and I'm quite sure the other going to be here. Trust me, we're going to have a conversation because I'm interested to see how this idea came about and what is the ultimate goal. Let me go to neighboring Massachusetts. One of the co-hosts of SIS Please podcast. My own beautiful niece, Satta, is standing by from the Bay State of Massachusetts. Let me just bring it out and we will get the ball rolling while Jaratte comes on. Okay, here we go. Satta, good evening and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Well, we want to apologize. This is something that we have no control over. This program should have gone ahead last week as scheduled. I'm not sure whether it was Mike Zuckerberg or whoever, so whatever the reason. For some reason, the train just derailed. But notwithstanding, it's better late than never. Good to have you. Hopefully, Jaratte going to be coming in here a little bit. But in the meantime, let's just get the ball rolling here. Introductions is something that is very, very important, and I just do not like to do that. Because in the process, you can leave us some good pieces of information that could be relevant to the conversation and even to the audience. So let's let the cat out of the bag. Satta. Who is Satta?
Well, my name is Satta Summer Hightower. I'm a former journalist who now does content marketing. I have my own content marketing consultancy, so I produce content for B2B tech companies and financial services companies. But now I've also become a podcaster. You know, my sister and I launched this podcast in February after talking about this idea for a year or so. So this is our first foray into podcasting, and we wanted to do it because we have very interesting conversations on the phone. We often have different perspectives and disagree on certain topics, whether it be politics or relationships. So we thought it would be nice to bring it to the podcast format and share our perspective, because we know there are probably a lot of Black millennial women who have these conversations with their mothers, their aunties, their sisters. So we wanted to provide a safe place to have those kinds of authentic conversations.
So, with you, it's not a surprise knowing your background and in this profession. It wasn't a surprise. But how was this? Who initiated this, and what was the ultimate reason for Jaratte? Kind of like a little bit. Surprised, but I've been watching most of your episode, and she's really in it to the point. But who initiated it? How? Who brought this idea?
I think it was both. It was a mutual idea because, like I said, we have conversations on the phone all the time, and the discussions are very lively and engaging. And we'll have conversations via text, on the phone, and we both are interested in media. I have a background in media. My sister's also very interested in social media. She, has done social media consulting. So,
Oh,
and we're consumers. So we're on social media. I listen to podcasts nearly every single day. So I think it was just a natural progression of those kinds of conversations.
okay. The conversation is about to get interesting. Jaratte is here. Let's see how she jumped into this. Let me bring in my own. Let me get this out here. Let me see how good. Hi, Jaratte, co-host of SIS Please podcast. How are you?
I'm doing well, Mr. So. How you doing today? Thank you for having us.
Mr.
Great.
So.
I know it's kind of weird, right?
Oh, so we have to call
Yes.
you Mr. So? We can't
I
just call
don't.
you. I mean, we can call you
I
Alfonso,
don't
right?
care. I don't care. At this point, I don't care. Who don't? I said it already to the public. They're my beautiful niece. Whatever feel comfortable that will comes out of you, that's fine. These are our own people. So,
So we won't
okay.
get in trouble if we call you by your first name, if we say Alfonso.
Alfonso, Mr. So, Uncle
I'm joking.
Alfonso, but there's no violation here on that one here. I don't care. What importance is the conversations and what we hope to get out of this conversation here this evening. Okay, Jaratte, good to have you. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Great. Okay, it's better late than never. I just don't want to leave my audience in the air to say, but because I've been talking about you guys, so let's give you the opportunity to do that self-introduction intro for me. I don't want to do that and leave something important perhaps that you wish to say. Who is Jaratte?
Yeah, my name is Jaratte. As Mr. So said, I'm 31 years old. I live in Providence, Rhode Island, and I am a sister. I'm a proud auntie. I'm a proud Liberian American, and I'm also doing well for my job. I do work in the nonprofit space, so I do like grant writing and communications. So I think I heard you, Sada, say earlier something along the lines of just starting this podcast. So I'm also really creative as well. So that's me in a nutshell.
Oh, now I gotta know that needs doing green writing. So probably to want to tap into your expertise for LPR because we are starving here financially. So who knows who's gonna come? But we don't have money, so I'm not sure how that's gonna play out. Okay, ladies, good to have you here. I started with Sarah here, but let me just bring you in here a little bit, Jordan. I didn't see you getting into this. What prompted you?
Yeah. So I think so me and Sada, as we have very, very different opinions, and it's interesting because like we grew up on the same roof. My sister's also 8 years older than me, and oftentimes when we had conversations, it would often get it was a good dialogue, but then it also got heated at certain times. And I think about a year and a half ago, like we always talked about, hey, we really need to start a podcast. So I think we kind of put our heads down last like December, right, Sada? Just kind of
Yeah,
figuring
October,
out, hey,
November,
like
September,
what
we started. Yeah.
yeah, deciding like, hey, like what is this gonna be about? What kind of topics are we gonna cover? And like for those who are like listening and stuff like that too, like we're again proud Liberians. And our mom coming to the States was like a big part of who we are as people. So we definitely wanted to highlight that in the podcast, but then also just talk about our experiences, not only just as Liberian women, but also we were raised in America. We were born in America as well. So kind of dealing with things that we're facing here as like Black millennial women, because there is like an age gap. So
I don't want to be judgmental here. Say it was heated up. Who started that heating up of this conversation with Sarah? I guess Jaratte. You want
Are
me
you trying to
to
start another heated conversation, Uncle Alonso?
I mean,
No, I think it
yeah.
was mutual. It depends on the topic. There, like Jaratte is very. You may not be aware of this, but she's very passionate about politics, and her viewpoints differ from mine. Whereas I would say she's more socially and fiscally liberal. I'm more fiscally moderate. I'm still socially liberal. There are some um, topics or subjects that I'm not as liberal on, but I'm definitely more fiscally moderate than she is. So anytime we would talk about public policy, I mean, it would lead to some sort of debate. And I feel like Jaratte too, as a younger millennial, she's in her early 30s. I'm in my late 30s. She's very much into the social media conversation, what's going on Black Twitter. So sometimes she'll talk about topics, and I'm like,
Yes.
I didn't know about that. Like, and she makes me feel like I'm old, like I'm out of the loop. Like
out of
I'm at
touch
a
here?
different place in my life. I'm not on Twitter all day, and I'm not saying she is, but I'm not keeping up with like social media influencers in the way that maybe people in their late 20s, early 30s are. Like, I'm married, I have a kid, there are certain things that I engage in when I have time, but I'm not up on pop culture in the way I used to be when I was younger, but she is. So she'll bring up topics to me, and I'll be like, either I won't know who the person is, I won't have heard about it, so I'm like, don't care, or I'll have a opinion about certain things that she'll tell me, and it might be different than hers, and it's just we engage in
Very
dialogue
so.
about that.
Okay, yeah, Jaratte, you want to comment on that?
Yeah. I was gonna say yeah, no, I said to that, Mr. So, yeah, so I think we did an episode. We have a couple of episodes too. We talked about college affordability, and I think it just kind of highlights just our completely different view on the topic. So, like as that is that I'm more fiscally and socially liberal. So I was all for free college and also like free
Student
debt
loan debt
tuition.
relief,
Yeah,
make the
and
rest of
Sada
us
was
as
not about
taxpayers
that.
pay. Yeah,
Who
and
cares?
we had it's episode, I think it's episode 8, where your
Yes.
student loans worth it. I think that's the title. But I,
Yeah.
as someone who had just finished paying off my student loans, I wasn't very pro student loan debt relief. Also, I didn't like the fact that it was only like a one-time thing. It wasn't going to solve a systemic problem, which is why college is so expensive in the first place. But I think my view is, like I said on the episode, my view is a little bit different because I view things through the lens of paying bills and paying taxes. So anything that affects my tax bill, I'm like, I don't. Let's take a more measured approach or evaluate this or assess this more. And I think Jarette's like, well, you guys told us to go to college. You said we needed a degree, so you guys should help us pay for it. And I think those of
Yeah.
us who are a little bit older and further down the road, it's like we have had to be more self-sufficient. We are not part of the participation trophy, generation, whereas like, or or the coddle generation, as I sometimes refer to younger millennials. I think there's with people who are younger in their early 20s, or early to late 20s, early 30s, I think there's more of a sense, this is just my view, that the world owes them something, and I don't agree. So I think sometimes that's where the fundamental differences come in, or that the world needs to hear all their hot takes and opinions about every single subject. They need to post however they're feeling on social media. Like, everything is about feelings and making people feel better. And sometimes that's not the way life works.
So I think Jaratte seems to be a little bit. So how do you go about to select these topics? Is there something that you found trending within the community, internationally across the country? People are talking about it, and you wish to expand on that. Correct? Is that the situation?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, because it was episode 1, I mean, season 1, we didn't want to overwhelm ourselves too much. So, something that we did is we pre-recorded and also pre-scripted all of our episodes. So, in the beginning of the year of 2023, or actually no, 2022, late 2022, Sada and I just kind of talked about, hey, like, what are some topics that are evergreen? So, no matter what's going on in the times. Like so often talked about was like college affordability. We talked about like beauty standards, not only just in the American community, but also the African community, because there's also some African aunties that always ready to tell you how much weight you gained. What other things? So yeah, we pre-scripted our episodes. When we start season 2, we hope to kind of be a little bit more flexible in regards to like what are some current events that are going on. But most of our topics were kind of pre-scripted based on what we've already talked about and things that are pertaining to Black women.
Yeah, we also want to do more interviews. Season 2, this season we just did one interview with psychotherapist, mental health counselor.
That was phenomenal. So yeah, go ahead. And how do you go about to select these people? Is it a special target group or what?
I think we just tap our networks. Like for season 2, there are already people we know we want to interview. Like one of my best friends is an OBGYN. So we want to bring her on to talk about fertility in your 30s and trying to have children in your 30s. You know, the Margaret, the psychotherapist that we interviewed, Jaratte was the one who introduced her to the podcast and set up for us to interview her. So it's just tapping our networks, people we know, and asking them if they want to be on the podcast.
What is the feedback so far? Jaratte, let me start with you. I'm quite sure your friends, you on the social media like myself, I'm quite sure your inbox is inflamed. What are they saying? What are you hearing from them?
Yeah, no, it's been a really, really positive response. So when we first started the podcast, a lot of people were excited on our personal networks. People that I went to school with or worked with in some capacity, haven't seen in years, are like avid listeners of the podcast. And even if they're not Black, I think that was also really cool as well to just kind of say like, hey, I didn't think about this, or, even though I'm not Black, like I can kind of agree with certain things, or, some of them might resonate with me more than my sister on certain topics, or vice versa.
Why?
So
Let me hold you right there. Why?
I think when you have two different like headstrong African women like that have like, again, we were raised in the same roof, but we have different personalities. I think it's natural for someone to gravitate more one towards another, or they might know me, but they might agree with Satta on a certain topic. So perfect example. I think it was the college affordability episode, and my boss, she was just like, she's actually the same age as Satta, also has one kid as well, and she's not Black at all. And she was just like, she was like, I'm kind of in the middle. Like, I can see where your sister is coming from, but she was like, I think we can also, figure out some other means to make sure that college is, affordable and accessible. So I think it just really depends on the topic, but I think, and I think we just have different personalities, so I think it helps.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think the best for me, yeah, we've gotten really positive feedback, but for me, the best and most meaningful feedback has been from our mom. She listens to every episode on Thursday when it comes out. So it's funny because
Are you kidding me?
she's seeing a different side of her daughters. And if you've listened to the podcast, you've heard we cuss on there. We talk about like sex and dating and different relationships. And so it's funny to have your mother listen to it, even though we're two grown women, that's still our mother.
Right.
But she loves the podcast. I mean, she hasn't complained to us about any of the topics we've talked about. But yeah, I love the fact that she listens. She sends it to other people to listen to it too. So, and it's sort of like a time capsule of our lives right now, and that she's getting more insight into us as women. So to me, that honestly has been the most valuable.
Okay, I'm just getting some comments here. Yeah, go ahead, Jaratte.
No, I was going to add to that too. She's also proud as well because I remember one day, this was a couple weeks ago, and one of her just, you're so intelligent on the podcast. It's very insightful. And, they were like, I always appreciate the love and appreciation that you give your mom. So, Aretha, so if you're watching this, thanks.
Probably.
Okay. So a couple of followers, and for those of you just joining us, they are Liberians like yourself. So don't mind that the English. I was an old grown up guy, so there's no way that I can speak like them. Go or kind of. But there are a couple of people now getting to pivot in what you guys doing, and they really want to know which channel and as to how they can follow you. So let it come from the house's mouth. Where can they track you guys to follow your series, your episodes, and stuff like
So
that?
if you listen to podcasts, you can listen to them on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. We also have a YouTube channel. I know YouTube is probably
Yeah.
very popular in Liberia. So yeah, wherever you get your podcast, you can even go on to our website at sispodcast.com, SIS podcast.com, and you can listen to the episodes directly on the website as well.
So the name SIS Place. How? Why SIS Place?
Jaratte, you want to take that one?
I think Jaratte internet is frozen.
Yeah,
Jaratte, are you
that's
there?
like, again, we're both sisters, so that's one. I am here. Hold on.
Yeah. So we came up with the name Sis Please because like she said, we are
Hold
sisters, so
on.
the title was very obviously. But um but also it's something that I think we as Black women in the culture say to each other. Like when someone's saying something, you're like they're being ridiculous or they're saying something funny or whatever, you'd be like, sis, please, like stuff like that. So we wanted to play on that as well. And it's something we would say to each other when we're having our conversations and we're disagreeing with each other. So it just was a natural fit.
Natural. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's take a break and we'll be right back. I'm playing host, Sis Plays Podcast, Satta and Jaratte. As a matter of fact, they are my nieces. I'm proud of what they are doing. When I saw that, trust me, in every event over and over, and it's a new learning process. Well, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
And live an upper middle class lifestyle, it often means that we're the only ones in majority white spaces. And sometimes that upward mobility comes at the expense of our own psychological safety, sense of belonging, and fears about what it means for our Black children and their, sense of self. Hi, I'm Satta, one of your co-hosts of the Sis Please podcast.
And I'm Jaratte, the other half of the Sis Please podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. So, sis, what's up?
I'm good, just hanging in there. It's funny because for the past few weeks, I've been doing a self-imposed Amazon moratorium. Like, I can't buy anything unless it's essential. And the reason I did this was because I'm doing this weight.
Okay. That was a good one. So why was it you were trying to avoid spending, so you kind of literally what?
Yeah, I mean, it
Let
was
me
like I think the start of the new year. Amazon Prime, I'm not going to say it's the devil, but it can be addicting to get stuff to your doorstep within 1 or 2 days. Sometimes now they can even deliver stuff same day. I've ordered stuff and it's come 4 hours later, you know? So that's very tricky when you have your credit card number stored in your Amazon account. So I just wanted to peel back, stop buying some unnecessary things. And I tied it to a larger goal. I was trying to lose weight at the same time. So I was like, once I hit my goal weight, then I can start shopping on Amazon again. Because I prefer online shopping. I don't have time to go in the store, look around, spend money on gas to go to the store. I don't got time for that. So Amazon is what I rely on.
And actually, it seems like Amazon they has grown so significantly. They have their warehouses. They are installing you. Right? They say, "Oh, you're gonna get it in 2 hours time. You're gonna get it in there." So that kind
Yeah.
of drives people crazy to just plug your numbers and just hit to finalize. Yeah, hopefully, Jaratte gonna join us here. And one of the series among the men you guys were talking about here is this soft life. Yeah, and that was quite interesting. And I tried to look at this phrase here. My understanding originated from what, Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you got? Now, you, me, and many of us Africans, how difficult it is to deal with this soul life. But what have you gathered when it comes to soul life? I'm not sure what I can really do because it has its own basic principles or things that you got to do.
Well, I don't think it has like specific principles. I think it's whatever the soft life means to you. I mean, and we touched on this in the episode that, as first generation children of immigrants and as parent we have parents who are immigrants, they only seem to know a hard life, like work, work, work all the time, doubles, triples, every day. And it's like you're just working to survive. You're not actually enjoying life. So I think the soft life is about reclaiming some of your time back and doing things that you enjoy and putting yourself first in a way. And it could be something as simple as like, every Friday night at the end of my work week, I'm going to take a bubble bath, or I'm going to get a facial or go to the spa every couple of months and treat myself, or I'm going to find a job that isn't as stressful. And at the end of the workday, 5 p.m., I'm done. I'm logging out. I'm not working weekends. I'm not taking my work home with me because I need to prioritize myself. So I think, especially as Black folks in this country, life is hard enough. So I think you need to find ways to treat yourself better, and not always put other people's needs before your own.
That aspect is a convoluted one for us, especially. Okay, Jaratte is here.
I'm so
Uh,
sorry.
oh no, that's okay. We're doing good. We're gonna bring you into the fries right now. We are talking about one of your episodes, soft life. I'm not sure because you know the family root. I need not to tell you. I'm not sure how can I really deal with soft life. Say, want to get a bubble bath when I should be doing double or triples, like you say. And I want to play something here. You're gonna hear that. So it is a challenge for us. How can one overcome that?
That's you, Jordan.
How one
Yeah,
can overcome
because all about this sound like say what
Basically, how
how
can
to
they
pay.
overcome that struggle mentality?
Yeah.
You know,
Especially, I'm
just
saying this to say, and just to give you a little bit insight, if you are from the big, large, and there are many other Liberians, people in Liberia, you in America, you are the breadwinner for them, and sister, brother, nephew, nieces, everything up to you. When I decide to, if I say I want to go soft life, get my bubble by, be household free. I don't know how can I do that. Is there any
you can't
possible
work
way?
7 days a week, even though we know some people have
yeah,
Not
families
even
who do. But you can't do
you
that.
got to
You're
boundaries.
gonna drop if you keep on. That's not sustainable if you keep working that way. And sometimes you got to tell people no. Or
okay.
you
That's
have
one
to
of the
do.
that's one of the thing I look at. You gotta stick to your goals. Say no.
Yeah.
How say you get a
Yeah.
phone call here today, and is dying. Brother needs to get surgery. This X amount needs to be paid. How can I just say no like that?
Maybe you don't say
Yeah.
outright no, but you say, this is what I can do. Like, you don't kill yourself to do more than what you are truly capable of doing.
Not doing.
Because we know too, with some of these phone calls, what they're saying on the other end of the line is not always true.
Right, right.
Like,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me?
yes.
Yes, much better.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, no, I totally agree with both of you guys. Just sticking to your boundaries. And I'm Sada and have the layer that maybe you, Mr. So, have, or other family members where they come to the country and, like, there's a lot of things on their back. So, I mean, we have a privilege in that way. But I think similar to what Sada said, you got to stick to your guns and just say, hey, I care for my family. My family is important to me. However, I'm not going to work like a slave in order to appease you. Like, I got to live my life. And when I think so much of our family members is just that work, 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 work mentality. And some of them can't even go on vacations, enjoy their lives, doing things that are fulfilling to them, because I think there's like this mindset of, once I get to the country, I have to hustle to the bone. And I think that's not always healthy as well. So I think just sticking to your boundaries and just kind of figuring out, like, what are some things that I like to do outside of work? Is that, play Lulu? What's that? That African game. Or, I like to
Or
hang out
be
with my
a
friends,
public radio host.
Yeah, Liberian people always like parties and events. Like, maybe be an entrepreneur, but be an ethical one. But, like just making sure that you figure out like what are some things that I like to do outside of working to provide for my family.
Okay,
It's important.
folks are asking they want to track you guys down. So Esther and many of the other folks that are asking, you can get this on YouTube. Most of them, you guys are there. You can on Spotify and which is a Google or Apple.
Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, like wherever you get podcasts, I think we're on
Oh,
all those platforms.
okay, yeah. So all you need to do just go to those places. YouTube, you just type in Six Please Podcast and
Yeah, I
trust
know a
me.
lot of people got Apple and
Yeah.
iPhones and Android phones. If you have an Android phone, you find it on Google Podcasts. If you have an iPhone, you'll find it on Apple Podcasts. It's an app, that purple app right in your phone.
Okay, so there you go. So we will talk to them at some point in time. Who knows if it goes well to start sharing their content here as well because yeah, a lot of things. Trust me, in every event I'm always there. Let me just keep it there here. I'm quite sure they can still see it. For those of you just joining us, you go on Google, you go on YouTube, you type in that name, definitely you're going to see the logo is there and everything. So, talking about Sublight here, let me play something in one of your episode here, and we're going to have a conversation. Hopefully, the audio comes out.
Day, once I left, shit, like they found somebody else.
True.
I think just doing what's best for you and knowing that about yourself is really important.
Yeah, speaking of seeing our mom work hard, like you said, she's still to this day, even though she could retire and be fine, she doesn't do that.
Seriously.
We have an aunt who my nickname for her is Double So, because
Yes.
last name So, and double because she does a double like 6 to 7 days a week for that 16-hour shift, 6 to 7 days a week. That is not sustainable, but somehow she's been doing it for years. I think that's what's in her mind to do. Like when she has a day off, it's I should be at work.
For real.
You know,
Ain't no days off. Hustle.
yeah. So I think it's just tricky too. Like I said, I wouldn't mind regularly volunteering to pass the time if I had that option. But also now with the situation I'm in being self-employed, like some of the professional organizations that I'm in, they've asked me to volunteer for stuff. I don't have time to work for free. I gotta work for pay.
Okay, you don't have time to work for free, and I don't blame you because my mindset before coming to the States, I thought like when you walk anywhere, you will find 100 bills, or perhaps you will spend like $200 to get a brand new car, but that's not the situation. And Jaratte know this one here. Jaratte, you remember the first car that I got, and the name you called that car instead of helping him, it was cutting him, right?
I
Do you
don't even
remember
remember this, but
the
I don't
first?
remember
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, that's it was so how what is the significance of this? I know there's a mixed reactions. Other people feel like, oh, are they talking to me? I shouldn't do this. And other people say, okay, I think this is something they are really cutting through the edge and telling us they are the reality and things that involve that can even make it. Because at the end of the day, even if you drive here, the daughter or the mother that you even wants to help, you can make it because you'll be in hospital. So what is the reaction coming from folks that are listening to you guys with this here? What are they?
I mean, because I think this is where it's different because we're first generation Americans, so our perspective is different. Like Jaratte says, a little bit we're coming from a place of privilege because we're no one's calling us from Liberia asking us for money. Well, not recently, but it has happened in the past. So we don't have that responsibility to send like remittances back home, even though you have parents here, you have extended family members that you may help from time to time. So I think people of our generation, like Liberian Americans, African Americans, I think they for the most part share our perspective on this. But I think our parents' generation is different because you have different obligations and responsibilities, especially as the first ones to come here. But just because that is the pattern doesn't mean you have to carry that on generationally. I think our generation can sort of break the cycle and pass on, not and pass on wealth, pass down wealth, not pass up wealth. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
so that our children aren't in the same situation so that they have choices. And I think that's the whole point of why our parents came here, is to give us choices so we don't have to repeat the same things that they have to do just to survive, or just to
Yeah.
ensure their whole family survives. Like, I don't want my son to be having to send money to me. Like, I'm trying to position my family so that he can go to college for free, and he has his down payment, inherits a down payment on his home, like I know a lot of our white brothers and sisters do, you know? So I think we need also to break the
Yeah.
cycle and have a different mindset.
Okay. Yeah, Jaratte.
Y- Yeah, I was gonna add to that too, and I think also in coming to the country, I'm sure you're kind of fire. Like, Mr. So you were talking about just you coming to the States and you were just like, hey, like money basically goes on trees, and then you're like, oh no, I have to work for the life that I want to build. And I think, like Satta said, some similar to our white brothers and sisters, um, they kind of have that sense of financial literacy. And I think, especially, maybe I'm just speaking for me, like as a Liberian woman, a young Liberian woman, that knowledge isn't always like easily like passed down, or there's just not as knowledgeable. Like, perfect example, like I think about what you guys do, susu. Like,
So,
take that money to the bank, or invest that money somewhere else. Like, just, I feel like just certain habits of like collecting money, I think, can definitely be enhanced. So that way, when you have kids in the future, it's just like, okay, this is how you save your money. This is how you can invest your money, or you can make that money work for you. Like, I even think about just like Liberian people. We always love an event. Take that susu money that you get and go build like a residence hall or something like that.
Like
Cause
a hall, yeah, and rent it out.
yeah, yeah, make your money that way. So just small things like that, I wish, or I mean, I can only speak within my context, that I feel like we could be better about.
okay. Absolutely. Was Jaratte and Satta here? Sispli Pascast is tapping over right here on LPR. I wonder if my sister is watching this evening.
If she is,
I
she should
think
leave
so.
something in the chat.
Yeah, I think so. I sent her the
Okay.
link.
Okay. So, Jordan, you more or less like the politics aspect too, correct? Do you monitor stuff? Do you have time to monitor what coming from Liberia or just strictly here? Or
N-
I'm sure you have some
just
friends who are
strictly,
Liberian. Mhm.
I would say like most of my knowledge is like more so domestic. So in the US, I think I should be better in terms of like knowing what's going on in Liberia. But not too much. Yeah, because I think maybe some things are kind of hard to follow, just in regards of like, who are the political leaders, what kind of system does Liberia run on, like when is election days. Like, I feel like, yeah, I think if I knew a little bit about the process, I think it would be easier for me to follow. But happy
Yeah,
to
and look,
learn.
we got our hands full here in America with politics. Okay, I don't know if we got
No need
time
to
about
add.
geopolitics and international politics. We're just trying to keep our democracy together. So tracking
What
US
is,
politics is enough. Yeah.
And that's,
right. What is the ultimate goal of this SIS place? Where do you want to see it reaching? Where do you want to see the SIS place podcast? Where you want to see it?
Hmm. I mean, it would be
yeah,
awesome if we
I
could
can go first,
eventually get
or
to the
you can.
time. Yeah, if we could eventually get to the point where we're doing it like full time, this is like the foundation of a media company that we're building that, talks about issues from our unique perspective as Black millennial women and provide content to that audience, sort of like the next generation Black media company. I think, yeah, for me, that would be like an ultimate goal. But I think right now, especially in the beginning stages, is just learning the art and craft of podcasting and building our audience is really a goal, and just continuing on with the podcast, because as you know, producing this show, a lot of work goes into it behind the scenes, and
Yeah.
we're balancing this with household responsibilities, our day-to-day paid jobs. So it can be challenging, but we just want to continue on, make it sustainable, build our audience, and monetize it eventually, obviously.
Jaratte?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And I think um I definitely would. I mean, I think Sada said earlier, I'm really into like social media and trends, but I think especially now since the pandemic, we've seen a lot of people, or at least that I've seen, do social media marketing or podcasting, or similar to what you're doing, Mr. So, with Liberia Public Radio, right? And it takes time, it takes skill, and it takes like dedication, right? Because you're most likely not a success overnight. So I think just building like those habits early and continuing like posting the content when you might get 10 views or 20 views, but saying like in the greater goal in mind of saying, hey, like out of the 10 people that do watch, like I'm getting positive reactions. And usually it always takes that one clip or that one video to go viral. So I think that's something that's kind of keeping me grounded. It's just like I know what we have is good. It's affirmed by the marketplace and our friends. And I think just us constantly like building towards it, I think will be really huge. So
Any new specific goal for this year in terms of where you want to see it reaching? Any sort of red line to say by the end of this year we want to get at this levels? Anything of such?
No, we don't have concrete goals in that sense for the first year because we really just wanted to give ourselves space and opportunity to learn. We actually just wrapped up our first season yesterday. So, episode 16 is our last episode of the season, and we'll be launching season 2 coming soon, figuring that out as well. But we would love, the great thing about podcasts is that they exist online forever, basically. So you can listen at any time. So even people who are on here now who are just discovering us for the first time, they can go back and listen to episode 1 or start from episode 8, whatever, or listen to our most recent episode from Thursday and just discover us. And, that's another way we can build our audience. So if you're online here watching us on Liberian Public Radio, we'd encourage you to go to our YouTube, go to our Instagram, wherever you get your podcasts, and to listen because, your support will make a difference long term.
yeah.
Okay, you want to add something on it, Jaratte?
No, I was just like I totally agree, and I thought it would be cool too to have like an international audience. I think something that we forgot to mention, like with this help, like with launching the podcast, we also had edited for us. We're looking at our metrics, and we have somewhat of an international audience as well. So I mean, U.S. is the largest, but it would be cool for those who are watching right now, like Australian presence as well, to be like, hey, so.
Yeah, we would love more West Africans like ourselves, whether you're in the US, in London, in Nigeria, in Monrovia, to listen because I think the stories we share are universal. And it also gives a
Yeah.
different glimpse into like culture here in the US from a Black woman's perspective, which I don't think we always get in the media.
What is the challenge in being a Black woman?
Ugh, how much time do you have? I feel like
Let's pinpoint on one or two things, and I think this is basically for education purposes as well, because we always hear this that what is it?
Jaratte, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, again, I can only speak for myself, and also me being, even though I consider myself to be a proud Liberian, I was not born in Liberia, but I think, the experiences are universal, right? Given like the skin that we're in, given to the founding of this country, or just the founding of America, period. Our skin was kind of deemed lesser than. So whether you're in Liberia or, in certain African countries that were colonized, I think we have this like collective history of pain and trauma, and that constantly is being reinforced in how we live, the quality of life that we're living, the lack of money that we might be making considered to like other counterparts. And I think when you have this Black skin as a Black woman, you're kind of collecting this like us only from history personal. life. So I would say like one challenge for me as a Black woman is just feeling respect by my peers, whether that's like my white peers or even sometimes like Black peers as well. Um, so I think just being respected and being valued as like a contributing member to society, because I truly do think that it's Black women that make the world a better place. So just listening to our experiences and validating us when we're being disrespected or maligned is, I think, one way that I feel like Black women are disrespected. But
And I think we also touched on this in one of the episodes. We talked about the archetype of being a strong Black woman and how that can be sometimes toxic. It's not healthy to, because that puts too much of the burden on us to hold everyone else up. But who's holding us up as Black women? We have to be caregivers, mothers, breadwinners, this, that. I mean, the list of descriptors can go on and on. And that doesn't leave time for you to think about yourself and what you want and to prioritize your goals. And I think women in general have that challenge where they're prioritizing everybody else's needs instead of their own. But for women, Black women, it's especially challenging because of the multiple responsibilities we're often tasked with bearing and carrying. Like, it can feel like carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders.
So, Ben, from what I'm hearing, want to sense out that was there sort of, are you guys prepared for any sort of backlash or anything that would be thrown at you? What these ladies are talking about, not necessarily within the environment, but people who going to be viewing, people going to be writing comments. Some might agree, disagree. Do you delete comments if it doesn't sound right to
No,
you?
I mean, that's the nature of the internet nowadays. And I don't think we can be too concerned with someone who doesn't know us saying negative things about us. And I think that's what you take on when you decide to do a podcast and share your opinion and views. And that was something I honestly was nervous about at first because I don't post a lot on social media. I don't share a lot of my personal opinions. So it seemed counterintuitive to do a podcast where I'm like sharing all my perspective on different topics. But I think if you put yourself out there in this way and you want to be authentic, then that's part of what comes with it. So you have to accept it. I mean, we've gotten some feedback that we didn't necessarily agree with. Some people have told us, one of the episodes we did, I think it was an episode on beauty standards and plastic surgery, saying that we were promoting gym culture and weight loss or something like that. Jaratte, you share that feedback with me, and that it was toxic. And that's just one
something
person's
those
perspective.
lines.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and that's one person's perspective, and that's fair. I didn't personally agree with it, but I appreciated the fact that she even took time out of her day to listen to the podcast and to share her feedback. So, you can't be too upset when you get negative feedback. That just comes with the territory.
Yeah, obviously, you make yourself vulnerable. You're going to be speaking to diverse people with different beliefs, and obviously, their opinion, they see it in a different world.
Mhm.
So, well, what's the time here? We want to keep within the confines of the time. I hopefully this will not be the last time, and who knows, because there are a lot of great stuff you guys talk about, and we want to see how maybe some of this content can be shared here as well, because it's very informative, very educative. So yeah, like seriously, this is what's going on. I didn't even know. All I was doing was checking on Facebook, but not knowing it was YouTube. Later on, Jaratte told me, and like every evening, going back playing those things over and over and over. So yeah, that sort of life conversation was quite fascinating, and I kind of like felt guilty too because it's like literally you harming yourself unknowingly, even though you want to help, you want to do something, but then you look at it in reality, this is not even good for my health. As it
Ah,
was,
yeah. I
Wait,
wanted
what?
to comment to that. I wanted to comment to that too. And I think just even hearing your feedback is also great too, because we don't know who's listening, but to hear from you, like an older Liberian man, of being like, hey, my nieces and stuff like that. So the fact that, the fact that you even reflective, like, okay, in what ways am I embodying the soft life, and what ways can I be better at that? Like, I think that's also satisfying for us to hear too. Like, we obviously, like, our main demographic is Black women, but we're welcome to anybody who listens. But we also, in addition to having dialogue, we want to have you reflect as an individual and see, hey, like, am I living a soft life? Or what's my opinion on college affordability? Or what's my opinion about religion? That was also an interesting topic that me and Satta got into. But
Yeah.
Oh, somebody, one of my analysts, somebody is asking, I guess taking course. Oh my goodness. What do I say to this one here?
What do you mean
Yes.
taking calls? Well, we
Uh,
don't take live calls yet during the podcast. Maybe that's something we can.
no, they were asking, what they are asking, a viewer asking, what are you guys willing to take phone calls? Maybe other people want to ask questions. Well, we didn't discuss that.
They can put stuff in the comments.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
Is Liberia
yeah.
Public Radio set up to take live viewer calls?
yeah. Usually, we also, we kind of like most of the time after discussion, but I didn't discuss that with you guys. But like for my regular analysts, we discuss some critical issue and we allow the audience to participate, to give their views, to get their reaction as well, which of course is always different. Is
Yeah,
that
I mean,
something?
if you wanna take
Okay,
calls,
let's take
Yeah, we're
within a
happy to
live.
do it. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, let me put it here. Let me put a number out here. The
We should
note
put
is
a disclaimer. Our opinions are our own. They do not reflect the views of Liberian
Yeah,
Public
public
Radio.
or
oh
radio.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, they absolutely. So yes, nobody gonna. All right, just hold on one second before we go. Let's see, Dr. Toto, and you open this now 8802. I thought about. Okay, let me just put this number out here quickly, and then we can take maybe one or two calls before we wrap out here. It's almost the time, so this is the number to call. The notice number here. That's our regular number. 682-433-8802. Let me just make sure that this number. Please don't call and ask what his name. Joseph Boyka, Ellis Kuhlman, and
Yeah, we
that's
don't
not
know. We
that,
We
don't.
that,
don't
yeah.
We
know.
are unfamiliar with those people.
We were
So
born in the
that, yeah.
US.
So
Yeah.
just basically, let's stick within the confines of the conversation that we are having right now. We have a few more minutes to go. So that's the number that anybody who wants to call. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
here we go.
Okay, Dr. George Toto is joining us from what? Pittsburgh. Good evening.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hi, Apostle. Let me say hi to our guests
Hmm.
in studios.
Okay.
Hello.
So let's hear from
Hello.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, hello, girl. I'm so inspired about just to listen to you guys. You know, type of message that you guys have for Black women, especially in our African diaspora community. But my question to Satta, when Satta was giving an intro,
Hmm.
you know, I kind of learned something new. Maybe she can expand on it more. In her intro, she said that she's a former journalist. And then I see her talking about podcasts. What's the comparison between being a former journalist and a podcast? Because nowadays, when people have different journalism and so many different perspectives, sometimes people have cell phone in their hand, they have podcasts, they are journalists, they do. You know, so we are seeing a lot of things. So you brought in something new, you know, to talk about being a former journalist and going on the podcast era. So if you can just try to elaborate on that more, you know, to kind of provide some education to us being a podcast and being a journalist. And then also my next question is, you got a message, what are your message crossing border, especially to young female in Liberia, people that are facing FGM, prostitution, especially teenage pregnancy among young girls in Liberia. If you had to listen to you guys, what message you guys had to tell them?
Oh,
Well,
what a
I'll
lot
take
of.
the first question. Maybe Jaratte, you can take the second.
Hmm.
So I didn't jump just from journalism to podcasting. I do marketing. So that was sort of the step in between. But I would say podcasting now, anyone can do it, whether you're a journalist or not, because the barrier to entry and the cost of entry is pretty low. So, and there are different style of podcasts. There are narrative, more journalistic podcasts that you see news organizations producing. There are talk show style podcasts like what we produce. There are so many different kinds of podcasts. So I don't think you necessarily need a journalism background to do this. I think you just need a few pieces of equipment, some software, and you can, if you have an opinion to share and you're willing to put in the work and produce something, you can do it. I think having a journalism background definitely helps me because I have that storytelling background, and I know how to produce content and how to make a story interesting. So I think it was definitely helpful, but I think anyone can do this.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to add to that too, in addition to like putting the hard work and knowing how to tell a story. I think it also matters too when you have interesting personalities as well. So I think for those who don't know, like, as you can see, maybe I'm like more of the more lively one. Satta is more diplomatic. She's lively too. But I think that also helps when you're producing like a show or a podcast. You want to make sure that your listeners obviously have not only resonate with the message, but also resonate with whoever's talking. So that way they come back for more. I think in regards to the second question, I think you said something along the lines of teenage pregnancy and what's our thoughts on that. Is that correct?
And FGM, like female genital mutilation and prostitution, and
yeah, no, it's really tough. I think in regards to like pregnancy, and I'm only speaking from a US perspective, but I think some of the concepts can also be tied to Liberia. Well, I think there should be healthy conversations about sex, like sex trafficking is a real thing, but I think it's really important for, older women to tell young girls about like, this is your body. This is what your body can do. Like, how do you want to be treated? Or, this is some boundaries I have when somebody violates your body or whatever. So I think just having like a positive message to that and just helping young girls kind of realize their worth. So I think that's really important. And I mean, I know.
Sorry, can I add something?
Yes.
I don't think the onus is just on the women. The responsibility is on the men.
The men.
Yes. Yeah, because, and we've touched on this on our podcast too. We live in a very patriarchal society, both in America and in Liberia. These issues of female genital mutilation, prostitution, teenage pregnancy, there's a man on the other side of the equation too. And I think we need to start talking about that more. And men, fathers, brothers, uncles, you need to talk to young men too and socialize them to do better. So this is not just a female problem. This is something that men need to take ownership of as well.
I totally agree with that as well. So I think just having like a collective of like, hey, we need to respect our bodies, and also men, what are some things that you're doing to kind of perpetuate, patriarchy or, violence, you know what I mean? Because I think
violence against women. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think also too, like when you're seeing these things.
And that's
like you
gotta say something. Men have to speak up too.
You can't harm a woman, but you could also perpetuate.
Yeah, like you guys rightfully said, these are universal things. There's trafficking, prostitution, even in the great United States, they are fighting. Not to mention third world country like Liberia, where poverty is all on top of the roof. Obviously, it's a challenge. What the times?
So that's our answer, Dr. Toto.
Okay, so ladies, what a great conversation here at this event. Is there anything perhaps somebody, you guys wish to talk about, say before we'll let you go? Anything?
Just thank you for having us. We appreciate the opportunity to spread the word about the podcast and let other people know about it. We'd love to have a more international audience, and we'd love for you guys, when you go on YouTube, to leave comments and tell us some topics you'd want us to cover for season 2, because we really take audience feedback seriously, and we want, the podcast to reflect our audience as well.
Okay. Jaratte?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for the opportunity to engage and talk to everybody, and hopefully we can do this again sometime when season 2 comes out or whenever you would like to have us.
Absolutely. And who knows who's going to work behind the scene where some of these content can be shared. Who is the firebrand within the SIS Plea podcast? Jaratte, Satta, who is the
I
firebrand?
think Jaratte is the firebrand. You know, the younger sibling always has more fire within them, I think.
Jaratte, is that true?
I guess, yes. I would say so. It's so funny. I think we posted like a social media reel actually a couple of days ago about, I think our last episode was just like us, me and Satta interviewing each other. And I asked her, I said, what's the biggest pet peeve about me as a sister? And she said that I was hard-headed. And I'm thinking that my friends would agree with me, but a lot of them, to my knowledge, some of them I didn't know were also first children. So they were like, yeah, I totally agree with your sister. The younger siblings are unhinged. I was like, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, let me recognize my own sister here, the live wire of the family. Rita, she's right here already. What a proud mother. And I'm happy we're going to be doing this. And this is, I think, is good for the country. It's good not only to America, but Liberia, because these things you guys talk about, these are universal things. It doesn't matter where you are. Talking about student loan and all of these national critical issues going. Ladies, I want to thank you so much for stepping over here this evening. Hopefully at some point in time, we're going to get it done again. Thank you so much for your time. I know it takes time to get this sort of work done.
Well, thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for joining.
All right.
Thank you for listening.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, there you have it. I told you it's going to be a fascinating conversation. So these are my two beautiful nieces. Somebody wrote, say, are they Liberians? Yes, of course, they are Liberians. Yeah, my nieces, my older sisters, but they are grown-up women, and let me just put the name of their podcast. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify. You can get it on Google, Apple device as well. Just type in the name SIS Please Podcast, and you're gonna see it. Fascinating, great conversation. Educative, well informed. Let's get a little bit of that, and very shortly the panel is going to be joining me here.
The reality for a lot of us today is that as a Black family, when you're upwardly mobile and live an upper middle class lifestyle, it often means that we're the only ones in majority white spaces. And sometimes that upward mobility comes at the expense of our own psychological safety, sense of belonging, and fears about what it means for our Black children and their, sense of self. Hi, I'm Satta, one of your co-hosts of the SIS Please podcast.
And I'm Jaratte, the other half of the SIS Please podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Sis, what's up?
I'm good, just hanging in there. It's funny because for the past few weeks, I've been doing a self-imposed Amazon moratorium. Like, I can't buy anything unless it's essential. And the reason I did this was because I'm doing this weight.
Okay. Well, folks, that's how we're going to leave here this evening. I'm Afonso Zienso. To the panelists, the link is out there, and we're going to be shifting the gear here. In the meantime, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
fiber cream off of Woolen. Everyone that's looking for a nice African for wedding, whatever fiber you need, you can just come over here. You have all this nice stuff. If you need ashebi, you guys can come over here for baby shower, for wedding. You guys are welcome. She have really nice stuff. You can see all over there, all those men over here. You don't have to go to the theater and then they're going to be telling you all kind of stories. You can just come here. They're already made. And for ladies, you can just look for whatever fiber you're looking for and match it for the men. And, your husband already have a shirt made. You can get stuff for your kids. You can get stuff for the whole family. We have African slippers and ashobi hair ties all over. We have different kinds of lists and everything. So you guys are welcome, okay? It's really nice. It's Fabric Queen on Woolen, okay? $96.95 off of Woolen. 6625 Woolen Avenue, okay? So you guys are welcome, 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 welcome. You have nice stuff here for ladies, for men, for kids, and for everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Fabric Queen of Philadelphia. Fabric Queen of Philadelphia is 100% African-owned business. At Fabric Queen, we are specialized in high-quality wax product, Swiss lace, jewelry, and beauty products that will make you shine like the queen of fabrics. We are located at 6625 on Woodlands Avenue, 10 Philadelphia. Telephone number 215-800-0228. Tell the management of Fabrics Queens in Philadelphia is easy and salt on the Liberia Public Radio gives you this message. Tell all Aquaba.
Welcome to Uncle Musa Grocery, 6523 Woodland Avenue in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I'm a customer of Uncle Musa. I came here to get some things from grocery. Their things are so nice. They never get expired. They are the best quality. They have the best price ever anyone can get. They have so many things like cream, like meat, a lot of kind of meat. We have so many kind, and it's the best grocery store I've ever seen here in Wood. They are located at the 65th and Woodland. If you want, I really appreciate you guys to come over to come and patronize with us because they sell the best quality.
Uncle Musa's Groceries on Woodland Avenue, 6523 Woodland Avenue, Philadelphia, PA. Musa's store is composed of varieties of African food as well as Americans, but predominantly African food. You have dry fish, you have cassava, you have yams, you have plantains, bananas, and Musa even goes out of his way to pay people extra to cut the potato grains for customers to save them extra time. We have deeper, we have fufu, we have the refrigeration center, then we also have cosmetics. This is a place to come in Philadelphia. If you come to Philly, you don't reach to Uncle Musa's Groceries, you have not made your trip complete. Welcome, and we look forward to seeing you sponsoring our business. Thank you.
This is Uncle Musa's store, 6523 Woodland Avenue. It's the only store, a grocery store, that deals with African stuff. Anything African thing you can get in Uncle Musa's store. I am from Igbo in Nigeria. So, ndị Igbo dum, onye ọbụla wụ onye Igbo, ya bịa na Uncle Musa's store, 6523 Woodland Avenue. Ọ ebe ọ ga-enweta anything we ihe ndị Igbo na-eri.
Welcome to Uncle Musa Grocery, 6523 Woodland Avenue in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The business, we have a business on grocery store or African food, all West African food from Liberia, mostly Liberian food. And we have a palm oil imported from Liberia, and we have a very good customer service. If a customer buy from Uncle Musa Grocery, you get bonus certain times, and things are very reasonable. We have a good palm oil. Anything you want from Africa, West Africa, you can get it from Uncle Musa Grocery. We do retail and wholesale. So you can visit, we have a couple of stores in Philadelphia. We have one on 6523 Woodland Avenue, and another one is a clothing store on 6519 Woodland Avenue. And we have another one on Upper Darby, Gary Road. So you're welcome for shopping. Everything is nice. Customer service perfect. So that's it. Bye-bye.
Okay, that's Uncle Musa. Uncle Musa has been a very good sponsor here with the Liberia Public Radio. He's based in Philadelphia. Even if you want Porter, you go to Uncle Musa's store, you're gonna get it. Trust me. Porter, if you want Porter. Those who get enough and all of that, go there. Anything that you want, that you think you can get from Jongwentown Market, Raleightown Market, Fiamma Market, Uncle Musa have all in stock. So just go there once you are stepping through or you want to visit in Philadelphia, just stop to Uncle Musa and tell Uncle Musa it's easy and so off. LPR gives you the message and you will be treated. And for those of you who also have businesses or other stuff you want to showcase, all you have to do just reach out to us 682-433-8802. And we can find a way to be a baby shower, be a convention, be it a graduation coverage, or whatever memorable event that you want to do to host. That's our way. In as much we want, we don't want to get something free. Too much of free thing is not good. Free stuff doesn't last. So in as much we need your support in doing what we are doing, this community conversation, it takes time, energy, strength to get this thing going. You listen to the ladies, what they were saying just, and that's the fight. So for those, a lot of people have been calling us, cash out. Okay, so it's up now. Is $sign Liberia Public Radio 682-433 is the same Zelle number as well. By the way, at our first editions of the Liberian World today, there's a change in time. It's actually 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The first editions of the Liberian World today will be aired live in the nation capital of Monrovia, live on Sky FM and TV on the 7th in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. I'll be on Sky tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, local time, right here. The panel is going to be joining us. We are working on something while on air. I just got a message, but hopefully it will be confirmed either before the night goes or whatever the situation. Try to bring one of the big guns who, talking about those big political power, those that are seeking for the higher office of the land. As soon that is finalized, we will definitely let you know right here on the Liberia Public Radio. Our intent here is to keep the news fair, balanced, and proportional. Not to be judgmental, but give people the opportunity to get their side of the story. And you heard the ladies, proud nieces, you heard them here. You don't do this to insert your own feelings because you're going to talk about people. What you're saying is true or not, people will also have their views and opinions of what you say, and they might agree or disagree with you based on what you put out. So you must also have that courage in as much you critique or criticize or go against other people's policy, their ideologies, or what they believe in as a person. They can also disagree with you, and sometimes that tone might not be solved based the tone that you give. So that's something you should be ready to embrace as well, and to see that as a learning point, because you're having a conversation with a diverse group, different group of people with different beliefs, political ideologies, social, to whatever in the human sphere. That's how it's going to be like. So also bear in mind that you're going to have, a comeback as well, and they're going to be expressing. The link is out there to the analysts. You can join us now. Let's have a conversation. Like you said, our first, that's a SIS, please. Find you can get them live on YouTube, on Spotify, and also to listen. If you have an Android phone from Google, and of course iPhone, you can also get them as well live. I go to YouTube. It's most people it's easier to do that, and not just on it. You want to subscribe, you want to like, you want to give comments, because that way they know what they are doing. They are getting your feedback. And like we say here, trust me, your comments always, we always read in here, because it is a learning point. It is a learning process for us. So follow them, because they have a lot of great conversations. And hopefully we'll have a conversation behind the scene where some of these, their episode will be relay or air right here on the Liberia Public Radio, because all of this is all in the same place. I am Afonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio, LPR-TV. Okay, is decision day in October. Wow, 129 days to go. Liberian, couple of months. We're talking about months. Now it's being narrowed down. It's being strained. It's being squeezed. 129 days to go. Major elections will be held in Liberia. The presidential and legislative, 73 seats at stake as well. And overall, the presidency of the Republic of Liberia. For now, we now know Ambassador Jose Newman Boyka, incumbent President George Manawia of the Congress for Democratic Change of Coalition, and then the CPP Fixer 1, Fixer 2. That's the code name, Alexander Benedict Cummings and Councillor Charlene Bronski. For now, we note. I heard this evening, what's his name, Dr. Clarence Moluba Lanund will be making an announcement as well. So we'll wait and see. Where is the Bronga, Councillor Tiawanse Gongo? Is he still here? Well, Sissy can tell us. But let me put a number out here just in case. We're going to open the mic up here. You want to participate, you can call this number here while we wait for the analysts to join the conversation here. Helena, thank you so much for being here. Guide Nanun, come to watching from Carway. Thank you so much, as well as Prince Molba. Thank you so much for watching from Liberia, and my own brother, senior brother Tommy as well. This is what we want to do. But I think this conversation we're going to get at a different level now. Starting as of tomorrow, the voices of panelists will be echoing through the heartbeats of the country, Republic of Liberia, Monrovia, Sky FM and TV. We're going to be having a conversation, and we are working hard to have not necessarily the politicians, but we feel no one should be left behind in the national discourse of Liberia. All sectors, civil societies, students, advocates, civil society groups, and all of that, we intend to talk to everybody, to let we know what is going on, what they think. Because those of us in the media industry, what are we having these conversations enough? We think we should be having enough by this time. Where these candidates, the presidential, the vice presidential, and I just wondered that. What's about the first branch of government? We are not having these sort of conversations, and that's the campaign we intend to embark on. Those that are contesting for the representatives positions, the senatorial positions, what are they bringing to the table? Because they are the one to also to provide check and balances on the executive branch of government. So it's not just only the executive. This first branch of government is very vital. It's very key. So we need to know these people here. But because the politics of Liberia being so polarized, the drama aspect is being inserted into today's politics. So we are not having enough time conversation. And by the time we get to know, those people will be elected, and when they are elected, they are going for 6 years, they are going for 9 years. Trust me, they will no one going to resign. Whether they embezzle, whether they steal, whether they are indicted, they will not resign. So it is better late than never to have these conversations with them. We intend not to be judgmental, but we want to look at the issues, look at the past record. What are they taking to the table? Are they just going there because of party affiliations, or are they putting the interest of the country first? We don't see, like here, there can be a heated argument. We just saw the debt ceiling pass here. How many days people cut deal? That's not the case. I never saying where you're going to see it, oppositions and even the government to exercise political tolerance, where they can have a conversations on some things, where they can agree on, and there can be a give and take. We don't do that. Everything is about resentment, bitterness. They will not do this, they will not do that. We need to have, and it goes down, it trickles down to these counties to the extent some of these lawmakers, they don't talk to one another. They don't. And if you have that scenario, that is a serious concern. If you have a senator and representative who can talk, who can speak, who can share notes, yet they are representing a constituent, yet they are representing a county. So tell me, how can these people work in the interest of the county? So more or less, they are party representation. They're not there for the country. They are there for their personal selves, and they are coming again. And we are not having this conversation. You, some of the supporters, follower, you facilitate these bad behaviors, and then you come back tomorrow to tell us, knowing why you know now, you wouldn't have done that because you did not ask all of these questions. So the challenge is up to you. Trust me, we always reach out to these people. Like just was on here, we're getting a message here. Some of them agreed to show up tomorrow. Okay, we're going to get back. Because they want to go to these networks, they want to go to places where they're just going to have Tabata talk, where the host, everything the host agrees with the guests. And they allow the guests to just talk and roller skate without asking questions that are policy oriented, questions that are developmental oriented, questions that are infrastructure related. They are not doing that, but we intend to do that. What? The analysts are coming right now, and let's see here, we're going to be having a conversation. I'm Alfonso Z and Salt of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. Let's get this up here. Your voices will always be heard. That's the number there, LPR. This is the organization account, not a single person. This number is still on Zelle. It's on Zelle as well, and it's tied to Citizen Bank. So we take $5, we take $1, we take $2, anything your finger lays on. But if you made mistake and just put 100, don't delete that other zero there. Let it stay there and just send it. Okay, let's see here. We're going to have a conversation. Our guy is here. Stay tuned, and I will be right back. Welcome to the show. 121 days to go for Liberia to decide December 10th who will be the chief occupants of the executive mansion, Capitol Hill, the official residence of the presidency of the Republic of Liberia. LPR senior analyst based in the ocean state of Rhode Island, Mr. Jones O'Malley Atavia is here. I don't know which party he's for. I have no idea. Sometimes he talks like a sedition. Sometimes he talks like ANC/CPP. Sometimes he's moved in the wing of the progressive Tiawans say Gonglo. So who is he? What is political ideology? How soon would he come to a decision making? Let me bring King Jones Mali Otavia here. Who knows what he's going to tell us here exactly? Okay, Mr. Jones Mali, good evening. Welcome.
How are you, sir?
Thank you.
And
Good
how
to.
has your day been?
Oh, what? God money us.
Okay.
God money us. And I'm quite sure God money
that's the
everybody.
best. That's the best guardian.
Yes, God money us. Look, 129 days. Can you imagine we have 129 days to go to decide this October 10th, Liberians will decide who are going to be the chief occupants of the executive mansion to Republic of Liberia. How is the race going so far? Is it fair to give somebody an edge in this sort of toxic environment, politics, the conversations, and all of the red mean going back? I saw on the Facebook where Axel Jackson, the refund is sent on the Weatherspoon, 1,500. Oh my goodness. Phone never die. Okay, so let's have a conversation here. At 129 days to go. What is happening? The opposition. I don't see them. They're waiting for a while. June 16. The vice president. I think CDC. I would say that I know people are going to get upset. CDC has managed to deploy, and they are sending their surrogate out there. I think you mentioned that the other day. They are sending them out there. After the Basel episode, Joseph Newman Boyka, Fixer 1, Fixer 2, they're going to bed. I'm not sure what Mr. Cummins, okay, Otelia is joining us here from California as well. Is a senior analyst of the Liberia Public Radio. I'm not sure whether she's been busy with Cummins' campaign. I don't know, but we'll bring her in and we're going to let her know. Let me bring in Otelia Jaratte, is a senior contributor to the Liberia Public Radio, analyst, been a while. So, you've been working on Cummins' campaign or what? Good evening.
I've been staying in the know for the most part.
Okay. Yeah, because somebody sent a picture from Bikina and said, but Daya is like, Otila, she in Bikina and she's with a campaign. I'm like, seriously? Okay, nothing wrong with that. Okay, OJ, how you doing? Good evening, welcome.
Doing good. I'm doing good. Hello, Mr. Soul. Hello, Mr. Is it Male?
Male, yeah.
Male. Hello. Happy Friday.
Male opened himself up to somebody to crossing over, but still, he said nobody is talking to him. So I'm not sure whether anybody. Male, you say you on the market, right? To cross carpet to anybody? We're not hearing you. You gotta unmute yourself. Your microphone is. You gotta unmute your microphone.
Okay.
Okay, now, yeah. I say you declare an open market the other day, is it right? You say anybody else call you? You don't need public.
Last time I tried to transform myself into a political commodity for sale on the shelf, but it seems to be
nobody looking.
It seems to be no one looking in the direction of my commodity. But however, I will try to relocate from one shell to another, probably this time around.
And put yourself in a different package.
A businessman want to pick me up.
You know what did I tell people? My man, just come when we win, then we'll call you right. Why would be eating for it before when you win? When you win, it becomes that's a different group of people you're gonna meet. Okay, guys, good evening. As usual, to welcome. Our first edition going to be aired tomorrow on our sister network Sky FM inside Liberia. So it means conversation going to be taking a different turn. Not different turn, but we're going to be communicating. We are still communicating with Liberia, but where people are going to be picking up phone calls, they're going to be hearing. So we have to lead the way through as Liberia Public Radio. OJ, how are you been? Been busy with work?
Yes.
I know it's crazy.
I've been very busy. I've actually been traveling. I went back to Sacramento, 2 weeks ago. Prior to that, I was somewhere else again. That's
Yeah,
why I was absent.
yeah, I've been seeing those good images. I'm like, oh, I'm she can throw me one free ticket to let me just go.
I got you.
Okay, but finally, let me not be quick here. You decided lately before we start seeing you with respect to where you leaning with any of these candidates, right? You said, but you come to that conclusion already or not?
Say that one more time.
You decided who you're going to support already, didn't you?
Yes, Alexander Cummings all the way, 100%.
100%
If we want change in Liberia, Alexander Cummings is the only way, the right way for us to go.
Why Cummings? You're not the first person I've been hearing now. Why Cummings should be the change? Is it because he's not a politician or he's a new face? Is that what we're judging on? But what specific are we judging for which Alexander Cummings should be the guy? You think?
So I had the honor of meeting him earlier this year, or was it? Yeah, no, it was last year. Excuse me, end of last year. And when I tell you, this man is very passionate about Liberia. He's passionate about change. He doesn't seem to be corrupt. I could be wrong. Only time will tell. But from what I saw when I met him, he seems to want to push Liberia forward. And to me, sorry, let me turn this one off. And to me, that says a lot about his character. One incident I recall was that we had a town hall meeting in Sacramento, and it was very crowded, and there was a lot of people asking questions about a lot of different things, different topics. And when I tell you, Mr. Cummings stood up and literally answered everyone's questions for 2 to 3 hours straight without sitting down, without saying, okay, that's enough now. He literally is passionate about the country. And you can tell by the way he continuously answered the question. He wants the goodness for Liberia. He really does. He also has this passion for the people. And he just brings a leadership ability that we've been missing for a very long time. He's a true president. He walks like a president. He talks like a president. He's a leader, and it's backed by his leadership skills with Coca-Cola. He's also passionate about education. He's passionate about the youth and passionate about technology, science. The guy's just the right candidate for Liberia if we
Does he have the political tolerance? Before I bring in Malie, and I'm quite sure you're aware of his VP, his nominee and Councillor Bronskin. Do you see that as a perfect match? I don't know whether you had the opportunity to ever listen to her, but her last interview, there seems to be a great change in terms of her tone, previous conversation to a media outlet. Of lately, her appearances, her conversation being more seasoned, more political, and being very calculative in terms of what she posts out there. And I think she's been taking some strong position. I can't wait to have her here. And we are working behind the scenes because we want to ask some real tough questions. But do you think that was a perfect decision choice by Mr. Cummings?
Absolutely. I think she is the right decision. I love that he chose a woman first and foremost. You know, as a woman myself, I am proud to see.
Race car or what?
Excuse me?
Is it a race car?
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not at all. But we don't really see a lot of women in power. Yes, Ellen Johnson was one of the first female president in Liberia, which is great, or in Africa in general, which is great. But just seeing more women being involved in politics in a male-dominated field is inspiring for young women like myself. So I love that, one, she's a woman, and two, she's very intelligent. She speaks well. She's also very passionate about Liberia, and she's passionate about change. And I also love that she's kind of like I've never seen her before in the, media, in sense of people who are known to be in politics. She's like a new face. So it's like she's bringing like some new energy for the country. So I think he chose right. And I trust his judgment. I'm pretty sure he saw something in her and feels that she would be a good running mate. So with those two together, I feel like we have a winning chance. I can't wait for October.
Okay, let's see here. Let me bring in Jones here. Mali, are you there?
Yeah.
So it's the Duncan back has been broken from Buchanan. Cummings managed to go in the backyard of Joseph Boyka because they managed to pull Yomli Kangat Lawrence, who thought to have gone to number two for United Party Joseph Boycott. World people transporting people, that has been, and it is the traditions of all of the political institutions to transport people to go there to build boost their morale and all of that. So that I'm not even going to count in. But what happened since the Basel incident with Unity Party? Much is not being done. Perhaps I'm missing what is happening within the cyber space. But the momentum Unity Party unleashed with the Buchanan, with the Grand Basel from there, all we're saying now is what about red meat? Something they are diving in, which it doesn't make no sense and it's a losing battle. Is this Dale and this person can speak this Dale? The two beautiful ladies that I hosted here, they are all Liberians, qualified, competent. So today, if they want to go, will you tell them say they must speak crime before the Grand Guinea-Pig can welcome them? Also, I don't think the uniqueness of this country is in the collections of immigrant people of different background. That's how innovations and everything comes about. But what is happening right now? Unity Party is coming, ANC gaining momentum over Unity Party. It's hard to say there's nothing to put to that fight. But what ANC is doing now, being very strategic, being very political, and they should be political, by putting their number two fixer tool, uh, making her to get used to the microphone so that when the time comes tomorrow, it won't be a strange one. She won't struggle. So if there's anything in the school or right now before that time, they will be fixed. What's going on?
Well, I think the scramble over Bassa, the Bassa block, and the scramble over the Nima block, I noticed that the momentum is accelerating.
To whom?
It's accelerating. I see it going down from all the camps. But here is the advantage and disadvantage, especially for Kumi. For those Liberians who want to hear a new political language, a new change, a new vision, something that they have not heard before, Kumi is their guy. Those guys who want to stay maintain the old status quo, like Joseph Boakai and the rest of the 27 political party, it is their way to go. So what I'm seeing here is that I think it's the issue of different ideology being put into play now. Kumi has come with his Western concept, try to restructure or to get a rebirth to the political approach in Liberia. It started with the CPP. When he organized the CPP, it was a sophisticated instrument where some of the traditional politicians had to back off because it was too technical for them. Yes. So now I see him moving into these battlegrounds. Like for instance, Bassa. You see, when you see Yombly and you see DeLong, the light that has fallen off already. These are all visitors to the Liberty Party. Shelly Bronskin, this is her father party. No matter what, we can say from our own analysis and from our own background that she has inherited her father party. So people are saying Yombly has endorsed Ambassador Boakai. Yes, anybody can endorse anybody. But the weight, it is the weight that behind the endorsement that matters. You see, Yombly in the first place, she been started in the back by Joseph Boakai. Secondly, she turned around and endorsed him. I don't think the endorsement came from a genuine feeling. I think that endorsement was like
What's some sort of political pressure?
all right. But this girl, Shaolin, she come from a situation where she tried to be like a peacemaker in the Liberty Party. She not accusing anybody. She just want for the house to be in order. So I think a lot of people, especially Bronski peers, the late Bronski peers, going to look up to Charlene to take the party forward and bring victory for Cummins. That's how I really see it. So with the issue of what's going on now, you just raised an issue that who we think is almost ahead. Don't forget, when the CPP and an entire membership were in court, the CDC were making airways. The CDC were quietly moving into the terrain while the CPP were still fighting in court on all these things, right? The CPP were making hairlines, the CDC were making airways. So there's an advantage there for the CDC. As of now, they have something in their reserve bank for now that they can count on. They have already established so many foundations from the 6th county, from the southeastern down to Nima. They have established when CPP were fighting. You see? So the question now is CPP catching up?
The CDC?
Is United Party catching up? Or is CDC still moving? And my answer is because CDC came in with one strategy. And the strategy was they never wanted to use the CPP crisis to make headline for themselves, but they kept quiet and forgot about the crisis and they were moving. And that was a very good strategy. But the question now is the ANC catching up? Is the UP catching up? Because CDC is still moving.
CDC is still moving. Let's see here. What is interesting, you listen to his analysis, Ottilia. And as a matter of fact, the vice president has been used as a top surrogate now for the, it's sitting vice president, Dr. Jaratte Attila, as a top surrogate now, moving here. She was in Lo-Fi, in Bond County, this place and that place. And as hearing the opposition, oh, well, campaign now open here. The presence of the vice president in these rallies that are ongoing, and I hope making one of the arguments in Lo-Fi, we'll get this road done. We'll get this thing done. And there's some progression being made within NIMA and even going to Grand. To what extent, how are you going to conclude that I do not know. But the concept, this mindset of this opposition waiting and waiting and waiting. You're not going to yell and start screaming this, but the idea, your physical presence, because they know, they're hearing it, you are contesting, you want to be president, you want to be vice president. Your physical appearance speaks volumes to get to know you and you know them. So Ottilia, let me just ask you here. I think after June says the bias will be unleashed. What would you like to see the guy you support since they are waiting for everything to open up officially? What would you like to see after June 16? The Cummins and Councilor Bronski to be doing? What would you like to see them doing?
I would like to see people really come out and support and vote for Cummins. I would like to see more rallies. I would like to see more supporters constantly posting on social media and getting the word out about Cummins and now his, vice president candidate, his running mate, just to see more action and more being proactive. A lot of Liberians were used to just kind of talking, but I really hope to see, people actually go to the polls and vote.
Yeah, and I think, and that's the good thing here, because in politics, the more you become visible, the more people get to know you and they get to know the other side of the story.
Right.
And I think that's the directions of CPP here, because they are being this sort of tussle where the pig is unknown, nobody knows her. But what they are doing now is getting her out as much as possible, so that if there's any damage control, That can be done. So there's no wait and see attitude. So I surmise right after this whole maybe June 6th, whether Cummings and the CPP going to be dispatching for one side and he Cummings going to be going to other side, I don't know. But most likely that seems to be the case because she been coming out very forcefully and facing the microphone. Uh, do you think will she appeal? Do you think her presence from the Buchanan Grand Basel corridor now, do you think he has broken the back of Joseph Boyka and the Unity Party? Because I'm not sure whether they saw that coming in physically, but they put a good show out there. As a matter of fact, it was show. Everybody transport people, and that's what politics is all about. You got to build that solid, that strong coalition. You got to be competitive. And I said that before. In order for ANC to be viable, in this whole thing, they have to be competitive with their own main oppositions, which is the United Party. Because what you want to do is, at the end of the day, to give people the choice, and they have managed to get to that edge, to get to that line so for better or for the most part. Uh, their movement being more or less Morovia, do they need to go? Because CDC seems to reserve the southeastern side as the stronghold. Because after losing Prince Johnson, we saw the number coming that we're waiting to see how those numbers going to be. Do they need to go within the southeastern side to chip within the president where he believes to be his stronghold? Do they need to go there, or did you just focus on Buchanan, Grand Bassa, Nima, Lofa, Bone County?
They need to go everywhere. They need to go everywhere. I feel like, we shouldn't be complicit. We shouldn't stay in our group, right? We need to really spread the word. We need to go everywhere. At the end of the day, we want to have more of our people who we don't really know is going to support us, vote for us. So in order for us to spread the word, we need to go out there and talk to them. So they need to go everywhere, not just
why Alexander Coleman capture your imagination for which you want to support him? What specific? What is it?
The reason? It's kind of hard to explain, Mr. Soul, but when I tell you, when I listen to that man talk about Liberia, it's like, for me, I consider myself someone who loves to learn. I love to learn. I like to listen. If you're going to teach me something new, I'm going to be intrigued. And when I tell you, when I was volunteering at the town hall meeting and Mr. Cumming was answering questions from fellow Liberians in Sacramento, I could see the passion in his voice. I can see that he really means well for Liberia. Like the way he would answer the question. It's easy for someone to ask a question and then you give a vague answer. It's easy to do that. But when I tell you, Mr. Cummings literally answered each question very detailed. And he also provided actionable plans. So like, for example, somebody asked about a question about education. He will answer the question and then he'll give actionable plans, like what he plans to do with that. So he's just very passionate. And to be honest, I have not seen that kind of passion from our.
Do you think that would be perfect? We see these things happen. Politicians, there's a lot of uncertainty in politicians. Do you think whatever he's been displayed now, if becomes president of the Republic of Liberia, would that be perfected into action, into real time? Do you think so?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like he's a man of his words, and I can only hope that, whatever he promises the citizens of Liberia, that he's going to deliver on. And I believe he would, because when he explained his actions and what he plans to do, it was very specific, which tells me that he was being honest. Like, I don't know. He was very specific. If it was some BS answer, I don't think he'll be that specific. He seemed to be very thorough in each of his answers and what he has plans to do for Liberia.
Plan to do for
Liberia. But then again, I understand, politicians, they're good at, I don't want to say lying, but politicians are good at what they do.
Yeah.
I trust them.
So, Mallet, the United Party. Now they get Johnson in their column. Will he, Johnson, Ambassador Boyka, would they hand in hand go out to campaign, or is just giving that political support and then relax? I don't know where they came from with this strategy that he normally, I think she normally, or whatever, that he should write, and they don't want to do the campaign. Is that a winning strategy?
Well, partly I'll say yes. And partly I would say no, because you realize that the official campaign begins August 5. Okay. But here is my take when it comes to the issue of the winning strategy. You see, we have a voting population that you need to appear in their eyes as many times as often you will do to keep your image in their memory. That's the type of voter we have in Liberia. The more you appear with them, they don't care about platform. But the more you appear, the more they see you, the more you get ingrained into, you get processed into their system, and they tend to remember you. But like what OJ just said, we need to understand who Kumi is and where he came from, and his Western orientation. We need to understand it. Kumi, he's a guy of the book. Now, one thing we need to know, he's a guy of the book. All right? And it's like he's waiting for August 5th to start. Okay. But the question now is, the VP went into the 6th county. I understand they fined her. She paid a fine, and they vowed they will continue to go. Just last week, the VP was in Satta under the pretense that she was inspecting projects. But she told the people in Satta that one of her legs is in Lofa, the other one is in Boncounty. Those are campaign caption. We know it. So they have decided they will continue to pay the fine. You see? But we cannot continue to play the game like this. The rest of the people are being told, sit in the kitchen until 7 a.m. in the morning.
Who is telling them to sit?
Nag is telling the rest of the people, sit in the kitchen and wait for August 5.
I don't want to take on. I don't want to believe that. So to say, let me bring in Edmund George. Is a strong supporter of ANC. So he's side by side with OJ. They're forming their own coalition on LPR, which is good. Edmund George, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, OJ. Mali, how you doing?
Hi, Mr. Emos. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Is it a fair analysis for? I know NEC gave a sort of warning that, of course, that's their job. They have to do that. But do you buy into his concept that NEC is telling them to sit, whereas the ruling establishment going here to the next tell anybody don't go there and say hi to people, how you doing here? I'm here today. I just come to see you, and say, oh, we are get pumped yet. If George Howard Taylor does that, why ANC, why United Party can't do the same?
No, that gets into what Mali is saying. That's why they say. That's why you say the incumbent has an edge. Because she's the sitting vice, she can go anywhere under the pretext that are going to do this. But when she's speaking again, you hear it's a campaign tone. And other political parties cannot do that. You know, so that is the edge sometimes they say the incumbent has. You can go around, but you have to be very careful what you're going to do, what you're going to say. So, but the difference is, the sitting president of government has the edge, because they can say, oh, and he sent her up the last time to Cape Palmas, or up there, or where? She on a tour. What she says, she's taking a tour, but what the message is for re-election. That's the message. So people just got to continue to push the election commission, but if any other political party does that, net will come down high on them. So I think that's where Mr. Mali is going. You know,
and Mr. Moderator, to also add to that, I just got a tip. I just got a very reliable tip yesterday from Liberia. Yes, the budget that was passed, there is $3 million in that budget for the president counter tour.
Yeah.
And the president had decided to defer this counter tour to start in the month of August. And the month of August is when NEC is going to declare the campaign time. Do you see the kind of inconsistency?
That rainy season, the person will travel.
Yes. The president should have gone for the nationwide tour ever since. But he decided for some reason that he's busy And his country tour going to start in the first or second week in August. And that's the same month they're going to declare campaign open. So what is that? That's campaign. Even as of now, the various superintendent have laid the groundwork a lot for CDC.
So, and that's one of the things I see that since the departure of Samuel Doe, where those days the chiefs, the city mayors, superintendent, even clown chief, commissioners, they were elected. But from the Helen Johnson side, that part of our democratic process has been compromised up to this time. So you just tell me, do you think those people in their right mind, who doesn't need a job to survive? So you can say that those people, whatever they go to the polling center, and it makes it difficult. They're not going to come out to say anything. Of course, they work for the government. You are dare you to come out here to say you're going to be there, unless those who have a bold face will want to do that. Because it's like, if you go against this government, you are out of job. Who doesn't want job to survive? Who doesn't? We all need job, even here in the USA. So that's the disadvantage to the opposition. With that said, how can they break through that corridor?
I think they can break through, because if you have an organization structure that, I know the ANC, and Mr. Cummings recently spoke about it, they're not just talking from mortal. And what you are seeing, they have the data, places that they are weak, they know those areas. So they're going to do more concentration in those areas that they know that they are weak. Area that they will do much better, they know those areas. So that one thing, and that I say that's one of the good things that Mr. Cummings is doing, based on data, as you're saying. So that's the thing. But that job is talking about, just look at the recent video. I think I posted that video in the chat room about Jefferson Kochi.
Yeah, I saw that video.
Saying that if you don't support the government, he was going to move on the Ministry of Commerce, and he named the minister.
Yep.
But he said it was the chairman of the party that stopped him. But it's a caveat that he's sending to people. So the question is, how we want the democracy to function? So it means that if you work for the government, you can't say anything. You cannot express your political opinion. You can't express any interest in any other political association. And is that the kind of democracy we want to build? That when people speak, that work for the government, you go after them? Is that the kind of democracy we want? I don't think so. You know, and the tip is that that's why I said my own thing. I say I got record. Listen to that tip. He said, and he called the Minister of Transport group that they were going to move on them. But the chairman that stopped them, and it's a caveat he's saying to anybody that work in the government and try to backstab them, as he put it. Is that backstabbing? During the early time, Nathaniel Market was assistant minister. Senator was advisor to the Minister of Finance. So they didn't threaten these people. Today, now Jefferson Kochi is using it as a weapon to threaten other people who don't support them. And Joe Howard was the one who started this thing.
Okay, let's listen to
government officials. Tell me what you want to tell me. And you think you can be in our midst and be engaged into double standard? I didn't hear that. They ask you, people telling you they will pay you from now to January. They will pay all your salary. You want to purchase your way to power? Let us know very clearly. Transport Ministry wanted to descend on you, but the chairman said we should disengage. Take
Mali. Let me bring OJ.
Man, thing I thought, yeah.
We want to descend on you, but the chairman said we should disengage. Not the president. I don't know what was the level of the weight that they were carrying to, but when something descends, obviously going to either crush you or you're going to feel a severe pain, because it's not going to, it's going to come with some sort of level of force. I can't. I don't know in the connotations of that word, and listening to his tone, that sounds very, very strong and very powerful. You want to postage your way to power. When you hear that, OJ, what goes through your mind? If somebody, if also say, I'm coming to descend on OJ. Oh, I mean, I'm not even going to knock your door. I'm not even going to give you a prior notice. I'm coming to visit. I'm not going to say, oh, will you be home? I want to start over. But Amos Joyce called me to start me, and that's how disengage. What goes through your mind?
Well, the word is, it's funny that that he's using the word descent. It sounds like a threat, you know, but it probably just could be just a passion vocabulary. I feel like some people, when in no book, they just say any words that sound smart. But it sounds like it sounds like a threat, but I don't really understand the concept, to be honest. I don't understand the concept.
Is he positioning himself as a Secretary General to gain absolute control power, to let his voice be forceful when he speaks, let people know he's a sojourn and he's one of the hierarchy of the party here. Amos George Malley Jones. When you hear that, he's a politician, and obviously, that people are trying to posture you are with. They know that you're now part of them, and people are promising you that they're going to pay you for whatever X period of time. So you're trying to postage your way through.
Well, I don't know, but if I were one of the opposition political party in Liberia, I would have dragged Koji to court because I see his utterance in violation of the Farmington River Declaration. When we say we need peace in the election, even verbal utterances can create problem in the system. This is an utterance of intimidation, an utterance of, because descending on you, it means a whole lot of things. You could burn that ministry down. You could take your political militants to that place there. You see, so the guy continued to utter the political languages in Liberia. Assuming it was vice versa, Kumi political secretary had come out to say, oh, Joel Howard, you're going to that place there. In our campaign time here, we descend on Joel Howard Taylor. They're going to take that man to court. They will definitely take him to court. You know why the CPP went to court?
Is that crime? Court told the circumstantial evidence is not arguing.
You know why they told the CPP to court? They did not take the CPP to court because documents were allegedly altered. They were taking CPP to court to paralyze Alexander Kumi, to ban him from running into politics. But their calculation just did not fit within the purview of the court. You see? So there are a lot of utterances the CDC is making. When the opposition follow in suit, trust me, they're going to go to court. You see? And the utterances are made, no one is talking. And this is how utterances are built up over a period. They become explosive.
Amos Joyce.
Yeah.
The voice of Major Koji, it warrants court?
It doesn't warrant court because nobody been affected directly, but it lay a ground for tension of violence because the content in which he was speaking, that's what we have to look at. That is a militant turn in the content in which he was speaking. We're going to descend on you people. We're going to move on you people. Politically, he didn't specify.
Let's make sure of these words, and maybe we're going to go a little bit further. Let's listen to it.
Take note. We are aware of your interactions. If you are a lawyer to habit, if you are a lawyer to certain lifestyle that you cannot afford to get, to disengage with, on the basis of that, you sit in this government, and you begin to assist and facilitate against the interests of this government, want to say to you before war. It was so good that the chairman intervened immediately. We were prepared to unmask and shame because it's painful when young people, old people, who go on the caution song and vote for this president, and stay bear in mind and remain hopeful. And some of you who accidentally become privileged.
Liberia decide is October 10th, accidentally. Yeah.
So you see the content which Jefferson Kochi was speaking, that is a direct threat. Look at the content. Because he specified what these people are doing, and it is against their interest. So therefore, we're going to move on, we're going to move on you people. In other words, we're going to descend on you people. But it was the chairman.
But how can you prove that in court, OJ?
No, you can't prove it.
We go to court. I know there's some sort of level of threat, but the court does not convict people on circumstantial evidence because nothing physical is being administered. So I'm wondering how can the court prosecute that if they were to go to court?
No, the court cannot prosecute that because nobody was hurt. First, you have to establish that you were hurt. So if you cannot establish that, the court will not listen to you. But what happened is setting a ground, according to the election guidelines, the Farmington Declaration, the spoke about utterances and things should stop rhetoric. That fall in that category. So it's only the election commission that can caution people to say, hey, tone down your rhetoric, because this can escalate, it can lead to something else. That's all they can do. But you can't take you can't take into court for, you can't take them to court for that.
OJ.
Yes.
Do you agree with Amos George? Can you go to court for this?
I think you can, actually. I mean, it doesn't have to be physical. Like the gentleman, when he says descend, to me, that sounds like a threat. And just his tone as well, like how he's saying it. I'm going, he seems very, it's like it's in a threatful manner. So I feel like you could.
Can we judge from his tone that crime will be committed when it is not being committed?
Yeah, absolutely. His tone is very violent, to be honest. I mean, you can get your point across without sounding violent. And in America here, if somebody threatens you, you can definitely sue that person. It doesn't have to be physical.
No, but OJ, here's the thing. Did somebody being hurt by that? No.
Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, it doesn't have to be physical.
I'm not sure whether they're going to count that. I'm sorry to say, but let me, this whatever fiasco, Femingtons, or whatever agreement, Akosomo, is it still standing? Is still the ambassador frowned on this yet and warned of people making, not just only politicians, but those of us in the media world to things that we say out there. These are some of the things. Guess what? Was that yesterday or day before yesterday? The ambassador frowned on that. And for a powerful man who is a Secretary General of the ruling party, to speak in such a tone, it seems to be in line with what the ambassador was wanting. So then the question now becomes, Mally Jones, this sort of so-called Farmington knocking Bob Weiser, Claude Beard together here, is it still holding?
I would say no. But before I answer that question, let me just bring Pat George closer to something that we can also look at. I had a friend here, a schoolmate. That was last year. We're on campus right after exam. And this minority faculty just walk up to this guy and say, you will see what I will do to you. So the guy decided to ask him for the second time. That time he had a tape recorder on and he made a scene statement. He called the police. I was there. And the police came and the police play on. The man said my life is threatened. This guy was charged. Threat is a crime. Maybe not in Liberia. There's the reason why I found problem with the political dispensation we're moving in Liberia. It seems to be it's the same old playboy we're going into Liberia. Threat, this man threat is a crime. No one need to be hurt. The man had already altered threat. All right. So we're waiting until the effect take place. Then the court, no, threat is a threat.
No,
and I noticed that the CDC militants are getting away with so many things in Liberia. And the Farmington document between you and our moderator, it was just a charade, a complete charade. Because when these things happen, I don't even see the head of state speaking to it or the party chairman condemning this thing. They may even say, oh, thank you. The party secretary or hierarchy decided to slow me down. So what you do? You going to burn our place down and kill everybody in our place? Then we waiting for that to happen before Pajor will say, threat in America is a crime. You go to court. So the next argument would be, oh, we are not in America. Okay, good. So is that type of dispensation we take into Liberia? Then that's a sad day.
So taking is already there. Who took it there?
But Mali, there was what you
no, the ANC is
listen,
taking it there because I wanted the representative speaking.
What you just said, it was people putting into action.
It was not no. It was not
You
into
said
action. The man made an utterance. They were recorded.
Okay, the utterance was recorded, but he spoke to somebody directly.
Let's get a quick reaction from some of our
when the police came, the police were not concerned about interaction. The police were concerned the content. And it was when this man was taken to court.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Mr.
Content? Okay, let's get an input. Let's get a different versions of this argument before we go here. Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Eric Talu, and I'm calling from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee. Let's hear what Tennessee.
A great city.
Thank you for the show, Mr. Zion. Mr. Zion, thank you for the show. But what I want to bring on the table to my old people, right there, the two of them, is that we should talk. Our politics. What we do in Liberia, politics is a one-sided thing. Even though the truth is there, but still, we still gonna go one side because of we love somebody or we like somebody. They jackals word the political slang that they are using, I will descend on you. It's not only the CDC that use this word.
Everybody.
Remember the last time when Data and other people who their co-star they said will direct the president. I think you heard that, you know that.
Right, absolutely.
When Dillon said I will stone the president convoy and all the kind of thing. And yet then all of the guys and they will say, I will carry a gun and all kinds of stuff. So, our politics, sometimes I listen to all the media, but we are one-sided. The true be true, that politics, if you want to do politics, then let it true be true. If CC do wrong thing and you are sedition, make sure that you say, the other way they go this time around is not the right way. That's how the politics is supposed to be. So I listen to the two other folks over there. They are going on one side because the words have been said all the time in Liberia. Every one of them, not one party, all the party. So because Jefferson Kosi just said your own recent answer, that's something you said if I were in Liberia, you just use the same word. You're not in Liberia, but you use the same word. You say if I were in Liberia, I would drag him to court. These are the same jackals political slang.
Okay, hold on one second. Hold on, don't go away. We always don't like to leave. Let's hear this other side of the story here from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. So.
Okay, let's get into this fry here. I guess you've been monitoring, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear your side of the story.
Yeah, I think Mr. Koji said earlier on that he was speaking on behalf of the president. If you play the whole entire speech, he said something about speaking on behalf of the president.
Is that what, are you saying you think, or is that what he said?
Now, that's what he said. I listened to the speech from the beginning, and he said he's speaking on behalf of the president, you know. So I think that the government is afraid of what they're going to face in 2023 elections. And this is what CDC normally do. The only thing I want to disagree with Mr. Mali that they should go to court and all that kind of thing. That is a waste of time. You got to first investigate whether if there are laws on the book that guarantee that if a city mayor says such a thing, it warrants,
okay.
court proceedings.
Okay, so then let me hold you there. The caller is still there. The caller too is also making an argument, and this is where the frustration kicks in within the Liberian politics. This sort of visual stuff here, cycle going around, and he made a valid point. We've been hearing Representative Yeka Koloba, who is a sitting lawmaker. Also, I will drag the president. We will do this. Senator, people throw all of these words without knowing the implications. So it's like, you did it last year, you did it 2 months ago, I'm doing it now. So why would you want to make? Is that a valid argument, or is it different from what we are saying here now?
It's a valid argument, Mr. So you just said it all. So people make, even Jaratte didn't make a threatening remark against the president's convoy. So the thing here is that we all know Jefferson Koji had to respond politically to these kind of things. I think the best thing for the opposition community is to keep advocating for peace and tranquility through the electoral process, because like you said, they signed an MOU agreement at the Farmington. So that agreement stands. Jefferson Koji right now cannot do anything because of that agreement. The whole entire international community watching them. But again, CDC only strategy is to threaten. That is how they fight the battle. That is how they fight the political battle. But they are weak right now. And everybody knows they are weak. There is not. Yeah.
Are you saying a CDC strategy? How you come to the conclusion? How you come to the conclusion to that? Is there a strategy toward the threat? Is that what you're saying? Do you agree with him, Carlo?
Yeah, CDC have a record of threatening. This is not Jefferson Koji first time doing it. Even when people protest, Jefferson Koji comes and threatens. That is how they do. That is CDC strategy.
But the fact is that all the parties do the same thing. The same threatening war. So that's my point here tonight.
Okay.
All these parties do that. So it shouldn't be like that one party responds or that want to keep doing it every time. Well, everybody, all the parties that in Labrador there, that's what I just said, I named a couple of people, 7 people here. I named them. They're all in opposition. And the same threatening war also. So the only thing we can talk, how can our politics, how can we elevate our politics to that level itself? I mean, leaving certain wars and other things out of the politics. Because we in the United States, we know that the politics are here with CA. We CA.
Right. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Let's leave it here. We are about to, Tari, you got something to say quickly?
Yeah, can I say something to the guy? We need to understand that Jefferson Koji is not just a political party. Jefferson Koji is part of a government that controls the country.
And Yeka was part of the government. Remember, Yeka was part of the government. Dallon General is part of the government. They all said that.
But what?
We agree that they made these statements, but their category is different from Jefferson Koji.
No, how are you saying that? How are you saying that?
What make it different?
Anyway,
Terry.
You see what I'm saying? So you see what I was saying? Because that's what I was saying. If the truth is there, let's say the truth. But people will just take side, and that's how our country be.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you. You know, when somebody say but now they it hard to talk. Man can't talk all now that you want to, but let's see here. Man can't talk.
Yeah, so I want to make a last comment before I leave.
Yeah, go ahead quickly before I go to my.
One of the things that you guys, the two other men talk about, Jenna, was I think you're talking about Jefferson Cosby is saying that they are sending threat to other, guys that are working the government if you don't support the government. But one of the things, these are some of the things we're still talking. Because the fact is that you if you're working in the government, you should be for the government. You're working for the country. You're not working for individuals. You're not working for you must be loyalty. You must be loyalty to the people you work for.
No, hold on 1 second now. The government, you say. So are you saying no one should go against the policy of a government, for example?
No, not the policy you go against. But for example, like we are in an election year now. So you work for the government. I'm the president, and I appointed you, and you work for me. So if you are against me, and other people come and they are for me, and then you want me to keep you still, you see, these are some of the things.
I tell you what, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, the government is an institution. The government, the president, who happens to be the head of the government, is the chief custodian of the government. That does not necessarily mean that that person is 100%. What I do agree with is that Liberian politicians are willing to take political risks.
Are you saying that the president, people that the president appointed are not his confidence?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Listen,
if the president appoints you, that means he have a interest in you, he have a trust in you.
You didn't want me to end my point. My ending point was, once you are appointed president, you serve at the will and pleasure of that president. If for any reason, at any point in time where you see you finding the different political lines for whatever reason, and this is what the point that is lacking with a Liberian politician, then you resign. You can't be, and that's why the firing of that minister of posts, of course, the president was right. I would not even allow there to go there. But this is what our politicians don't do. They are unwilling to take that rate because they want to be in 2-3 places at the same time. And so, I mean, that was wrong. But not with the case of like representative, senator. But I mean, for somebody to say, because everybody works in government, you should agree with the policy of the government.
No. For me, I'm speaking on those the president appointed. I'm not talking about those elected position.
Okay, let's have Missing.
Thank you, Mr. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Missing, go ahead quickly. That's the last caller, so my guys can make their closing point before we go. Missing, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. So. How are you doing today?
Good evening, sir. Thank you. Let's
panelists. I kind of think I differ with you guys on several points. One, I agree with OJ that there is a law in Nigeria for threatening of life, and Koji should be held by the police to question him, because whatever happened to the transport minister that he threatened, no one can say it's him because he will say my hand is not on it. But he made the threat. So the man's life is in danger. So he need to go and explain. And the court can find him guilty on his playing and the recording that yes, you threatened his life. So if anything that happened on him comes on you. So if somebody from Gibraltar just decide to steal a man's car, they can arrest Koji, because Koji told the man he will descend on you.
So then Koji committed
that's a law in Nigeria of threatening of life. Secondly, the president appointees are to his will and pleasure. But we got to realize that the pleasure as is spoken by the Constitution means the Liberian people's interest. If the person is not qualified and you put them there, you causing the problem with the president.
There are two different things. There are two different things you're talking about, your qualifications. And if the people who are the determinants of person being qualified, not qualified, is the Senate. If the president appoints, that appointment is pending when the Senate confirms that appointment. So as long as that appointment is being confirmed by the Senate, they validate the president's argument that the person is qualified.
Mr. So I kind of like differ with you, and I will tell you to the far opposite. If I'm not sure Mr. So is a journalist, if I am not certain Mr. So is a journalist, if I'm not certain that Mr. So has the requisite qualifications to manage LPR, and I am in charge to appoint a general manager, and I appoint Mr. So pending his approval, I am misleading the people who should approve him because I should have all the credentials.
So what's the responsibility? What's the responsibility of the executive branch of government?
There is the responsibility.
I mean, not executive, the first branch of government.
The first branch of government is responsible to certify that the person that was sent to you is qualified.
So,
but if the person sent is not qualified, because you make law, you
who certifies the appointment of the president?
The first branch of government.
So then why you want to
so the president got the right to take somebody from someone from West Coast who doesn't know anything.
It's not a matter of somebody it's not a matter of somebody, let's say as it should be. The president, when you become president tomorrow, what I know that is not happening now that used to happen before, executive mansion, they have a committee, they will do all their talking, do everything. The chief of protocol, the deputy minister, before the president appoint, they will do all their checking, do everything, and go into the Senate to lobby to say, hey, get few people in there to get it passed. But what I'm saying, whoever the president appoints, it is the prerogative of the Senate to provide a check and balances, because it is the executive that is coming in with that decision. You have the right to deny, to reject that appointment. As long as that appointment has been validated, you agree with the president that this person is qualified and competent with the to occupy that position, period. Nothing else. You can't twist it any way around. I am not saying everyone that the president appoints is qualified, but it is a responsibility of the people to say, you know what, this person does not have the requisite credentials to occupy this position. So they are two separate branches of government. Why the other people are not doing their own?
Mr. So I agree with you 100%. That's what they are there for. But the first thing must be made first. The president must make sure that the person is qualified. That is his responsibility.
So wait,
Mr. So he's sending them to the guy to verify. No, I'm sending somebody who has said qualified. Verify for me. If the president not qualified, that would be on the house to say, Mr. President, the person is sent is not qualified. But he is to be certain. You see, that's why the president, when they make an appointment to the house or to the legislature, that appointment, that recommendation goes with the president's stamp, which means people are sure. I am 100% sure the person can do the duty.
Okay, thank you so much.
And it's not interference when your nominee is rejected. It's telling the people of the country that your president doesn't know anything about verification and to do. So my point is, those people are appointed to serve the Liberian people. So long they do their work, it doesn't matter the political association. What matters is their service to the nation. They're not there to serve you, Mr. President. Yeah, they're there to please you to some extent, but their service is to the nation, which your service as a president is supposed to be. So I think that's where I come from. If the man is not working, if he's not functioning, fine. But if it's for his political identification, the president got no right to fire him.
Thank you so much.
That's my guess too.
All right. I don't see what is indefensible. The president appoints, you have the gavel to stop that appointment. When you validate that appointment, then you become dumb like the president himself. Simple as it is. And that he has been of lately. What I do know from the door time, before even appointment is done, they will do all of their due diligence. They will do everything. And I'm not saying everything, all of the appointments being perfect. But remember, these people, they appoint people who will also draft their agenda. And that part of that is to do their daily work or do whatever way they want to do. Now, it is the work of the first branch of government. You are not appointed. You are an elected person. Who told you say you can't deny or reject the president appointment, but you agree with it? They come and lobby to you agree with it. So then you also commit a crime. You also deceive the Liberian people. Then that's not the president. You're supposed to do your job. You who facilitate a crime or collaborate with a person who commits a crime, you also can be held liable. But guys, it is why it is. Hopefully we can get these things changed. So, I mean, all of the branches of government, everybody should perform their duties proportionally. You can't have one side slacking, falling behind, and other people doing their job. Then it's not going to help. It doesn't matter who gets there now. So people should have the courage. They should have that the love of their country. And just the same thing we're talking about this group here. Wow, soft life. You got to stick to your guns. You got to say no when it's time to say no. And that's part of it. When somebody comes to you and you know that person is not qualified, your no should be your no. All right, guys, I think we'll be here for a little while. Start at 7 o'clock in the first segment. So we're going to be wrapping all here now. So, in the interest of fairness, you guys can chip in on the last thing, president appoint and this and that.
Mr. So, let me say this. The first caller said something. I said that Jefferson Kuchi, you can't take in the code. That's what I said. Mr. Mali said, and Marlon again, you can take in the code. But he's saying that we all said it's in a no. Now, Mason just left from here. Let me make this clear. The utterance, what Jefferson, the words that he uttered, if someone in you could not go and stone the president's car or stone somebody's car, what he's making mention of, the law doesn't work like that. You have to establish a link that what Jefferson Kochi said, and the person that stole that person's car in New Crook Town, what Jefferson Kochi instructed them. You have to establish that link before you can say the utterance of Jefferson Kochi was what led to that incident. That's how the law works, missing. If I say I'm going to do something, and somebody across the board go and did something, to hold me responsible, the law will have to establish, you have to prove that what I said, it was to that person that led him to commit that act. So we have to try to establish those things. Now, the issue of appointment, the president, the Constitution gave the president that prerogative to nominate anybody for his cabinet that he deemed fit, for that into the legislature. The legislature, their responsibility is to look at that document, ask the person the question, and it's okay. He's okay, he qualified, fine. On the other side, the Constitution also gave the president the right to remove any of those people that he appointed. They serve at the will and pleasure of the president. So, if somebody is in his cabinet and he figures that person is not in line with his policy, he can fire that person. Nobody got any reason to ask him. But Jefferson Kochi, Akaya Gray, the guy from the post office, it was Akaya Gray who made that recommendation, who said, I'm going to make sure the person remove this guy because he's not in our camp. And the person acted upon that wish. If you look at him, I have some problem with it, but legally the person has the right to remove any of those people. So we should establish those things. Now I go back. What Jefferson Kochi said, there was a conjunction. He said, but the chairman stopped me. He did not go there. So what are the basics you're going to take Jefferson Kochi to? Because he was making a statement. And he said somebody stopped him. So you can't go and say, he said this and they stopped me. What was the action? If I talk to you, I call you, Mr. So, I will do that to you. And you say, me? I say, yes. Then you got evidence to show that I did threaten you. But he never spoke to the minister. He never spoke to anybody from the ministry. He only said, we were going to go there. We were going to move there. But the chairman stopped us. So how can he take him to court? What is the liability? Have you been hurt?
Okay. So
I hope you saw that tape about AMROS, because I put it in the chat room. William Keta go and look at it about the Supreme Court.
Come back with Keta again.
No,
Okay,
Keta,
what's your final word?
My final words is just to make sure to come out and vote for Alexander Cummings. If you want change in Liberia, for Liberia, Alexander Cummings is the only way to go. I like what Mr. Mali has said earlier. He mentioned that I guess Cummings is an educator or something like that. He's a bookman, so if you want like education or a change, vote for or a new way of doing things. Cummings is the way. If you want to stick with the old way of doing things, then vote for the other parties. But we need change. Obviously, the old ways of doing things have not done nothing for the country. So we definitely need change. So definitely vote for Mr. Cummings, October 5th, or is it the 4th?
Well, OJ, let me ask you a question.
Which one?
OJ.
Yes.
Do you speak any language direct from Liberia?
Oh,
no.
But then you're not a Liberian.
I'm full Liberian. My parents are Liberians.
No, the people said you are not.
I am full Liberians. It's not my fault that we had a civil war that caused my people to leave the country.
I was saying that they say my children are not Liberians because they don't speak my language.
That's ridiculous. Sorry.
All right.
What do you say about the American Liberians, the African Americans who came to Liberia? Are they not Liberians too? Come on.
You got to try to ask them. I'm just asking you.
Thank you, Auntie Nana. Hi, Auntie Nana. You guys, my favorite person in the entire world, Auntie Nana, Narale, Washington. I love her to death. She is my mentor, my auntie. She's somebody that I look up to, and I've been looking up to for a very long time. So election is October 10th. Like she said, please vote Alexander Cummings. If you want change for Liberia, he is the only option for change.
So I have your number.
Yeah,
that's a good promotional ad there. So we're gonna send you the bill, and you will pay for Alice Kuhlman, the ANC, for such an advertisement. Okay, so Mr. Jones, are you having two egg or what?
Oh no, just listening.
You listen to the program in Liberia, eh? Yeah. Okay, let's hear from you before we go.
Yeah, you see what the caller was saying about we being one-sided. Not that we are one-sided, but it seems to be something just normal in Liberia now. And this is where probably Kumi is being factored into the picture. Yes, something just normal now. So what I noticed now is that the young militant in the CDC, they see CDC to be the government and the government to be CDC. That had the whole thing looking at it right now. So it had become like a private club. We are running this government. This government is us. So they have personalized the whole thing now. Because if you listen to Jefferson Koji talking, when he started using term like privilege, you see, so it's like our club decided to let you see the light, and now you don't want to be obedient, So, but here is my point. CDC is supposed to be like the godfather in the room. CDC is supposed to set the pace for us to follow.
CDC, were they ever godfather?
No. Actually, when I use the word godfather, it's like in a room, sometimes there are one mature person. CDC has got a lot to lose, image-wise. So what you do, start throwing stone before other people throw stone, but they don't care. Because the CDC is the government is CDC. That had seen it right now. You see? So other people that we are brought in, say it's now our family private property, you must succumb and obey no matter what. And I think this thing has been going on for a long time in Africa, let alone Liberia. You see? But here is the issue now. My worry here is that these type of utterances, let the caller say, other people be making the utterances, I agree with him. Yaka Kolbagera, he made the utterance.
We have
Allen
on
make
the
the utterances.
platform.
But here is the issue. This thing will continue to build up. There will be a point, it will explode. Then we say, oh, you see. So I felt that the CDC is an elder in the room, is the ruling party. They shouldn't be making this kind of statement. I think that's where I'm coming from. Let other people make these statements. But as an elder and the government is in your care, you hold back some utterances because we're looking up to you. But when you start to become so reckless like that, then we take your elder position from you now and hold on to it to give it to somebody to play the elderly role in Liberia.
Okay.
And what I expect His Excellency to do, to be coming up and chastising his young militants. Now, one day, I hear that thing happen.
You ever heard they saying the monkey never leave a black hand behind?
So when the papa said other people are doing it, I agree with him. But CDC is the elder in the room. So CDC not supposed to be doing it. That's why I want to let him know. They're not supposed to be doing it. Because it seems to be, it's a normal thing in Liberia now. People just get a made threat. So a Jefferson Kogi was here in the United States making that threat. Whether someone stop me or not, and I get that recording, Jefferson will appear in court and I would say, well, he said that he didn't do it, but anybody could do it. Jefferson will have to take responsibility. In this country, it will happen.
Well, yeah, SIS.
And we say now, America and Liberia are not the same. But we're practicing the same democracy.
All right. Well,
I rest my case.
Views and opinions expressed here does not in any way represent the management.
But
we have called always.
We have called when Senator Dillon did that on the show. We called Senator Dillon. We condemn those actions. So
people go on their page and they throw it out. They decline it because they don't want people to talk about it.
Yeah.
No, but even the president on his puppet, he threw a lot of gossip on that puppet there. That's where the children learning from. The president will stay on the puppet and cause the opposition good. But when he can't answer, he's Mr. Clean. So that makes use of the puppet.
Well,
and so when the militants see these things, they say, oh, but the chief is doing it. We can also do it. And nothing will come out of air. So I don't blame Jefferson Kogi.
Everybody. The young baby said that born today, they get it. They say, we'll do this, we'll do that. And when you talk about it, you have people there give justifications of every action that are going to bring back memory of other things that are happening. So this visual corridor now has been created, and this is where we are.
You know why Prince Johnson did not react that day? The 500 people you were talking about, they didn't attend church service. If they had attended church service, Prince Johnson was going to authorize them to move on those guys. But they were not there. So he postponed it to gather them. But 500 people were present in that church that day. Prince Johnson will say, I will keep preaching. You're going to drive the guy out of this place. You will do it. I trust that guy.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm waiting to get a confirmation from whoever, but no matter whatever the case, the program will go ahead tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sky FM. So, the analysts, but I will keep everybody posted just in case while I'm working behind if it's confirmed. Well, folks, OJ, good to have you back. Hopefully that makes some time for us. No more traveling for now. But I think that's the best time now, someone or whatever, that's the best time. But thank you so much. Anytime, any hour, always. This is what we do. We know it's time consuming. Amos George and Mali. Mali, when will you decide? Probably they are waiting for you when you decide all these crap will start.
Mali will decide the ANC camp.
But I told you, I just said here, if you want change, that come in direction. If you want the old order, that Joseph Boakai and the 27 party direction. including your own bongo.
You don't you want bring poor business to don't be speaking radio here. What, so
I just see
Somali, what do you want? Do you want change or do you want the old way of things?
He want change.
So if you want change, then come along and vote on
That's what he said.
I said in the middle yet.
Don't mind him. He's on board.
Okay.
Yeah, language here doesn't sound like a middle. Okay, thank you so much, folks.
If you want to start us for, go back to 45 years. If you want.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for the time, and let's see what happens tomorrow, May Day, and we will have time. But I will keep people posted in the group chat no matter what comes out. Thank you so much, Emma Joyce. Thank you, OJ. Good to have you here. Legendary Jones O'Malley. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Flag, why you don't have liberal flag? You get US flag behind you.
But they come to the man in.
They say where you tie the good.
That why they go and eat.
And now you know what? You know the parable Joseph Parker gave the last time. You know what I like about him? He for the parable. Those are the old dude. He said this time when you tie the goat, that play the goat can eat. But he said the goat not eating that, the goat can eat a grass, eat a rope, eat a steak.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Okay, well, folks, thank you so much for being part of today's program here. Tomorrow, join me Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The first editions of the program, The Liberian to World Today, will be aired on Sky FM and Sky Thai Communications TV in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. Election day is almost 129 days to go. We never thought of this. October 10th is decision date in Liberia. So thank you so much, folks. And my first group of guests, my own two beautiful nieces, Satta and Jaratte, hosts of SIS Please podcast. Thank you so much. There was a great deal of lesson learned, and thank you for all what you do.
But the reality for a lot of us today is that as a Black family, when you're upwardly mobile and live an upper middle class lifestyle, it often means that we're the only ones in majority white spaces. And sometimes that upward mobility comes at the expense of our own psychological safety, sense of belonging, and fears about what it means for our Black children and their, sense of self. Hi, I'm Satta, one of your co-hosts of the SIS Please podcast.
And I'm Jaratte, the other half of the SIS Please podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. So, sis, what's up?
I'm good, just hanging in there. It's funny because for the past few weeks, I've been doing a self-imposed Amazon moratorium. Like, I can't buy anything unless it's essential. And the reason I did this was because I'm doing this
Yes, I was Satta and Jaratte here this evening on the Liberia Public Radio. You can follow them. They are on YouTube. They are on Spotify. You can get them on Google Play Store and Apple as well. SIS Plays Podcast. A lot of great conversations, great issues they talk about as well. They are Liberians like yourself. That's the bottom line. Folks, thank you so much for your time this evening. By God's willing, we'll be back here tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Where I come from, where they want to hear this and then. Well, folks, that's how we're going to leave it this evening. Well, folks, that's how we're going to leave it this evening. What the songwriter is saying, the load that is on our head, the line load, the student load, the false appointment load, a line fake confirmation, everything, let's just take it off on our head. That's the only way Liberia will be changed. But I want to thank you so much. That's a beautiful song there by Minister Alice Newmont. It's a Liberian gospel artist based in Baltimore, Maryland. Thank you so much for being part of it. Join me tomorrow, Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Liberian War Today will be echoed over the nation capital of Liberia. Monrovia on Sky FM and Sky TV Live. The analyst is going to be here. We are having a conversation, hopefully, if it goes well, before the night comes to an end. We're going to be hosting the president. But overall, we're waiting to see that is confirmed. If this is the first time on the Liberia Public Radio, we say thank you so much for joining us. I leave your comments, your tweets, your suggestion as to how we can enhance the capacity of this network. On behalf of the management of the Stars, senior analysts, we want to say thank you so much for being part of today's program. Until then, have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye. Si vos